didn't stick around, then I'm sad. But looks like it's good. The direct has not begun yet, but it should soon. Yes. I made a beautiful thumbnail for YouTube. I'm just gonna add it here real quick. You should go check out this thumbnail once it into like 2 shakes here.
I think I am about to go live as well, my friend.
Oh, double
Are
live.
you ready?
I'm not ready emotionally.
Too bad. Because I don't know if it's gonna work and I need to test it out.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. That is fair. Let's see if it actually saved. Do you have this problem sometimes when on YouTube, like you'll have to upload the thumbnail? Double trouble. Hey Tetra. Where you'll have to upload the thumbnail like 2 or 3 times before it actually works. Do you ever have that?
No.
No.
But...
like I'll upload it,
Is it live?
save, and then it just won't do anything, and then I'll have to do it again. Okay, I'm just refreshing this here. I'm just gonna hide this stupid YouTube chat because I don't want to see it. All right. The direct.
So you are on YouTube and
should be on YouTube and Twitch.
Wow.
Tetra sees you, Jebby.
Wait, does she see me on yours or see me on me?
On mine.
Okay.
I mean,
mine looks like it's working.
It looks.
Who is Daniel?
No
idea. We've been trying to figure that out for like 4 years now.
What is Daniel?
To be fair, we did get a couple thousand subscribers over the past week. So technically there is a lot of people that probably don't know who everyone else is.
Oh no. I don't see yours. Oh no, it's going. Yours is going.
Does it look correct?
I'm getting an ad for mini wheats.
Oh, you just made me like 2 cents.
Cereal. Anyways. Yeah, it looks like it's good. So yes, we are both live on our respective channels. Yeah, I've noticed that though. There's been a big leap up in subs on for both of us, really, actually. It's great. It's great.
Yes, Daniel is Chublima.
I'm not Chublima. Who says that? Oh my gosh.
No, I think
Cody.
Some people may actually think that because I purposefully switched the URL to your and Chubs' Twitter.
Why?
I thought it would be fun, and then turns out it was. So
fair enough. I'm not Chublima. I'm the Burger Man. But Jesse, before this direct starts, we've got about 15 minutes.
Yes.
Thoughts, fears, hopes, dreams,
All
predictions.
of them. all the thoughts, all the fears.
All of them.
All of them.
That's too many.
That's what my therapist keeps telling me, but you don't pay $500 to sit with Miyamoto for 30 minutes for nothing.
I don't pay $500 to sit with Miyamoto at all.
Well, see, the problem is he's a really good therapist, but I don't speak Japanese. So it's kind of like we're kind of making hand puppets to each other.
Oh, I see. That sounds confusing.
Yeah, but yes, I've been talking a lot on the channel about all the Zelda stuff because there were weird coincidences, and it added up with what some other people were telling me with Grezzo and, well, basically just Grezzo, because they're the only ones that like we know is confirmed to be done with anything.
Right.
Since they recently started a project and no other projects have been finished or even mentioned in 2 years. So it kind of seems like they're hiring like last week or whatever. Mm-hmm. Same time Nintendo was hiring for a direct. So maybe it was all related.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Hopefully.
Yeah. But anyways, what are your thoughts? Because everyone who's watched the videos knows all of my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna bum a bunch of people out and say I don't think this is gonna be a very Zelda themed direct at all. Because with the Mario 35th anniversary direct, right? They were like saying like right out the gate, they're like, this is the Mario 35th anniversary direct. Tune in for this. It's gonna be all Mario. everybody's hyped, everyone loves Mario, and it was great, but they didn't come out the gate like that this time. You know what I mean? And
No.
so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Also, I just realized I have the direct open here, but it doesn't seem to be working on my end here. I'm gonna refresh the browser, but yeah, it's so I don't think there might be some sprinkles of Zelda, but odds are either at the very end, the only Zelda we'll get, probably at the very end, they might have just one more thing, and then maybe something real quick, or what I really think is they're gonna, at the end of it, there's not gonna be any Zelda, and then they're gonna be like, oh, next direct is this date, and it's gonna be a Zelda one, like they have done previously, where they have shown a trailer and then they're like, more info on this date. So, hopefully. Oh my gosh, it really doesn't want to load this for me. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I'm just gonna I don't like that. So yeah, I mean, people are not gonna like me for saying that, but I'm gonna see if I can get this working here. For some reason, the direct thing I've got here. Oh look, there's us. there's us right now. It's funny, when I search Nintendo Direct, I actually get more people's reactions, like there are people live right now, than I actually do the real Direct. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So some people in the chat have similar thoughts. Where, let's see. Mike M says, I'm calling it right now, only Skyward Sword HD, and that's it. Don't know how to pronounce the name, but Huida says, Jesse, please notice me. So there's that.
there is that.
Age of Nerd says just Minish Cap.
Minish Cap.
Someone else said only Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. Well, a bunch of people are saying only Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. The thing is, it's almost guaranteed they're going to be showing off Age of Clams DLC, because
for sure.
It said, like, with I heard a few people talking about it, that in the description or something it mentioned updates or DLC for current games.
Did it?
And yeah. I was listening to our friend on Nintendo Prime to see what he thought was going on, because I was wondering, am I crazy for thinking?
Well, here's what I'm just looking at the tweet here. It says, tune in 2/17 at 2 p.m. Pacific time for a Nintendo Direct live stream featuring roughly 50 minutes of information focused on available games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Okay, so that's probably what he's meaning there. And games coming to Nintendo Switch in the first half of 2021. So yeah, I guess we all latched onto the Smash thing.
What about the description of the
actual stream thing? Or like a Nintendo's post? It's exactly that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, it just says games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I'm sure there will be Smash stuff, but other games like that, I guess, that are already available. Not just Smash, which is good.
The thing he was reading from specifically mentioned DLC.
I don't see that anywhere. Nathan, I wonder. I'm just gonna scope out Nintendo's Twitter.
Like he said, it was in the fine details. I don't know. I assumed that just meant like it's just on the description part of YouTube or something.
Right.
What are our hopes? I think. So my original thought was, I was being told a Zelda Direct was coming, and it would be announced tomorrow, or within a couple of days of tomorrow. So when this got announced, I was like, oh, cool. But then it was a normal Nintendo Direct, which they haven't had in a long, long time. So then I was wondering, well, they do need to announce all of their other games, because they have them, but nothing's really announced except for like 2 or 3 first-party games. And we don't know what any of their other studios are doing. And one of those games, Metroid Prime 4, was announced like 4 years ago. So
that's true.
We really don't know what they're doing. So maybe they just had an idea for a normal Nintendo Direct and then one for a Zelda Direct, and they just decided, well, let's just put them together and have a big Nintendo Direct since we haven't had one in a long, long time. So I think that could be what happens, or it could just be that they still have them separated, and when this ends, it'll be like more on Zelda on this day, blah blah blah. Kind of like what they do with the Smash Brothers when they show off something and they're like, stay tuned after the Direct for Sakurai's presentation.
Right, exactly. So we'll see. On my stream here, people in my chat are chatting about it here, but like for some reason, the Direct that I've got open just is infinitely buffering. It doesn't want to. I mean, the Direct hasn't started yet, so like, phew, thank God. But I'm just gonna try and fix this real quick because can you imagine trying to do a reaction stream and the dang thing you're reacting to doesn't load? That would be bad.
Yeah. But for my specific Zelda predictions, because I assume that's why everyone's here.
Probably. Hopefully.
Yeah. So I honestly do believe Grezzo has at least 2 games. Either they finished 2 Zelda games and they're working on another one, or they finished one big game and some smaller non-Zelda related game and are now working on Zelda. So 2 or 3 from Grezzo,
right?
Whether one's just now starting or one or both are done, I don't know. I think most likely if it was 2, then it would be Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 2 HD. I believe Tantalus is working with Nintendo for Skyward Sword HD, which kind of makes me sad because it means that it probably won't be in a new engine. An interesting thing about the Unity hire from Grezzo is where Link's Awakening was remade with Unreal Engine 4, but a lot of people talked about how poorly it ran on the Switch.
Link's Awakening?
Yeah, like it had a lot of dropped frames and stuff.
Did it?
Normal people don't notice.
I certainly didn't notice any.
if you're always used to like 60 frames constant or above, then it had a lot of problems, especially coming out of the demo when we went to E3 and everyone was talking about issues they've seen. I remember bringing it up and all of us were like, well, we didn't see anything bad.
Yeah, I don't. I've played that game through a few times and I really don't recall seeing anything bad there. But...
Yeah, and apparently Unity is what I read an article. I don't know if it had Nintendo being interviewed, but it said that over 30% of all Nintendo Switch games are made on Unity, which is odd because Unreal Engine 4 is usually the most popular choice because of how easy it is, but because I guess how easy it is, it has a lot of overhead to where you need extra power and stuff to run it. To where Unity is takes a bit more experience or more time optimizing it, but it runs better. So they were hiring for Unity and Unreal Engine when they were hiring for Link's Awakening, but they ended up choosing Unreal Engine. And since they already finished their Zelda engine with Unreal Engine, but instead of just using that, since they're already used to it, they went back and switched to Unity, even though they already had a version of Unreal Engine that they seemingly perfected for Zelda games. So everyone thinking Grezzo is remaking the Oracle games because they were also Game Boy Color.
Which I'd be down for, by the way.
Yeah.
Like the Oracle games are the only ones I've never played. So like if they want to,
you get to ride a kangaroo.
Yeah. But like it's the only ones I haven't played, right? And I feel like the Link's Awakening on Switch just fixed a lot of the issues there, right? So, oh my gosh, Tetra, thank you for the cheer, by the way. So I would totally be down. Like, because the control issues, things like that, right, were really what bothered me with the Game Boy version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But yeah. I think it is possible that they could have reused the engine and quickly remade the Oracle games with the same Unreal Engine.
I'd be down.
But I would expect Ocarina and Majora again in HD for the Switch before I would expect 2 new remakes from Grezzo, just because that would be the easiest and fastest. Not only would it be easier and faster, which means a lot less money to actually make the games, but they would also sell a lot more because although like maybe half of the Zelda fans want the Oracle games, most of them would only buy one of them anyways, and then some of them would be like, well, I didn't really like it, or it's probably similar to how Pokemon games are similar.
They could just sell it in a double pack though, even on Switch.
Yeah. But even if they sold 2 as one, I still think Ocarina or Majora by itself would sell more than a double pack of the Oracle games.
I agree.
Oh, it's starting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Nintendo tells us to shut up.
Nintendo's like, stop talking. Hold on. I'm not seeing it here. It's still... Oh, yeah, here it is. Please, dude, note to do COVID. It's pretty quiet on my end here. I'm gonna...
A bit loud on mine, so I'm gonna turn...
We just have the opposite.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And while this is starting, everyone, Xenoblade, while this is starting, for everyone who wants to complain later on that they can't quite hear the actual Nintendo Direct,
one day,
that is why
Pyra just disappeared.
You're watching a commentary for people to talk over the Direct, not to hear the Direct and not be able to hear us. So if you want just the Direct, then go check that out on their own channel. But if you want to hear our nonsense, stay here and have fun.
Yes, what he said.
Or stay here and be bored. Either works for me.
Oh, I think my internet hates me for this right now. It was at like 240p.
So, interestingly, we know the Xenoblade team, Monolith Soft, recently started their own Zelda team. Do you think we either, if this ends up having the Zelda stuff, or if they end up having a Zelda thing on their own, do you think since it's been about 2 years that we would be able to see what it is they are working on?
I'll find you, whatever it takes.
I don't know. I never played Xenoblade, but I assume this is going to be DLC, or this is just like DLC for Xenoblade 2, right?
It was, I don't know. A lot of people wanted X, the one that was only on... No, it was Smash Bros. Holy whoa.
Oh.
Yeah, we should have guessed this. They did the same thing with Animal Crossing, and Geek fell for it. Got really excited.
Oh, right. Oh, mine is behind yours.
And it did tell us that it was going to be... have a Pope. Like, that's the only thing we knew confirmed.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be... Okay. I have yours up here. Pyra is the next Smash fighter. Interesting. Interesting. Why did mine freeze? Oh gosh. This is a disaster.
Behold the power.
An actual disaster.
Alright. I had to switch the resolution on mine.
I think that might be what's part of what's causing it. I tried to at least bring it to 720.
No, I can take mine to 7. It's because it's at 720/60 instead of 720/30, so it's about the same as the normal 1080p stream. But mine was on auto, and it was going at like between 360 and 480, so I had to switch it to 720.
Let me handle this.
I had a slightly different. Try closing out Discord.
It's going now. It seems to have sorted itself. I don't want to mess with it if it starts going.
People are not liking Xenoblade for Smash, apparently, in the chat. At least one person is seriously upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, Xenoblade was pretty popular. Plus, they did say they were gonna reveal some Smash stuff. Okay, so it's two Mithra and Pyra.
Close, huh?
So are they clones? Or like alt skins of each other, like Hero had?
Maybe. I seen a lot of people saying that if they do reveal more, more Smash characters, then they need to begin the premiere by also stabbing Mario through the heart.
Oh, of course. I'm shamefully bringing it down to 480 on mine.
What was the one that had Luigi turn into a ghost or something?
That was for
Like the
Simon and Richter for
Never expected to see
the
you
base
two
game.
again.
because they're
So
on
they killed-
Castlevania, right?
Yeah, they killed Luigi, they killed Mario.
Now that you're
Have
in
they killed
Smash,
anyone else?
I won't go easy on
But
you.
technically with the DLC, they killed everyone, right?
That's
Or was it DLC?
no, it's the main
Was it
game
just, yeah,
where they
it was
killed
just
everyone.
added content.
We're fighters
It
too.
was the Ultimate and the Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if Nintendo has a board meeting on whether they're going to call a release deluxe special edition HD,
Maybe.
whatever.
Hello, everyone. It's been a while.
Okay.
I'm Shinya
It's been a while,
Takahashi
he says.
from
Yes.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
It has, hasn't it?
I had a prediction that
Last year, we
Joey
delivered
was
some
going
news
to be
through a
posting
series of Nintendo
49
Direct
minutes and
mini
59
presentations.
seconds of the Nintendo Direct, just
However,
talking
we
about
haven't
his
been able
hype
to
for
present
Metroid
a
Prime
Nintendo
4,
Direct in this
and then
style for
showing
some
an
time.
exclusive sneak peek at 1 second of gameplay to finish off.
I'm happy to share this Nintendo
That would
Direct
be
with you all
upsetting.
today.
That would be really upsetting.
But I could kind of see them doing it.
We appreciate your continued support.
Not with Joey, but like development terms.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did that with
Okay,
Twilight.
what you
Princess
just
and-
saw was the reveal trailer for the newest
they had
fighter in the Super
3 or 4
Smash Bros.
20-minute
Ultimate Game,
developer update videos.
Mm-hmm.
And it only just 10 seconds.
Pyra and Mithra. They originally appeared in the Xenoblade
Yeah, I remember
Chronicles
that.
series
With Breath of the Wild, how they were just giving us like just these tiny little snippets of things.
as Rex's 2-in-1 ally. Please look forward to seeing their moveset
Yoshino. Oh. Hey,
in Super Smash
this
Bros.
is a fun
Ultimate.
story about this that I
This
can tell
fighter
you later.
releases in March, so we
In March, okay. Oh gosh. I don't know why. Oh, here's Fall Guys. Alright.
So, you know the what part are you at?
Fall Guys.
Yeah, I know, but like, I want to make sure that I don't say something and ruin something for you if I'm like 3 or 4 seconds
Mm.
ahead. So he's looking at the Switch. He just fell over. Pink raised his hand. It just went off, showing remain until something is destroyed. Is that about equal with you?
Stumble toward
Honestly, no. Don't worry about it though.
greatness when Fall Guys Ultimate
There we go.
Knockout comes to the Nintendo Switch system
Wait, did
summer
you catch up?
2021.
I think I caught up. Summer 2021. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
I know
so
it all.
sorry to the people watching this on my channel instead of Jesse's.
No.
It's
I'm gonna piss everyone off by pausing mine for a few seconds.
Oh my gosh. Well, here I'm trying to jump to where it's live here, but
Well, then I'll have to jump.
I just hit the.
Did you already jump?
I
What
did.
messages will you discover?
What?
How can you prevent the sun from exploding?
The sun's
Wilds?
exploding.
Why is the solar system trapped in an endless time loop? Find out when
Outer
the critically
Wilds.
acclaimed Outer Wilds
Skills
launches on
test in
Nintendo
2 murder mystery games. Is that where you're at?
Switch summer 2021.
Just finished
Put your
talking about
sleuthing
Outer-
skills
put
to
your
the
sleuthing
test
skills to the
in
test.
2 classic murder mystery games.
There we go. I think I'm caught up
Uh,
to here.
Famicom Detective
about a
Club, The
second.
Missing
That's
Heir,
alright.
and Famicom
Um,
Detective Club, The Girl Who
you
Stands
lost
Behind.
like 20
Two
people when I
deep
said if
cuts
you just
from
want to pay
Nintendo
attention
history
to the direct
are
and
coming
not
to
us,
North
then
America
go
for
watch
the
the
first
direct.
time.
And like instantly
Localized in
20
English
people
and
just
modernized
dropped out.
for the Nintendo Switch system.
Oh well, that's fair.
Suspense, drama,
Yeah, but I just
and twists and
I would rather do that
turns
now and
await
then
at
just
every
avoid
corner.
the dumb comments in the future on people
You'll be
who are
on
like,
the edge of
I
your
can't
seat
hear the
as you
direct,
dive
stop talking, and it's like,
Right. That's like then
into
why
these
are
deep
you
narratives
here?
set in Japan.
Go
Yeah,
watch
but
In
the
like-
one
right
game,
then.
you'll solve
they're
a
not even
complex murder
commenting on
case surrounding a wealthy family in
our
a haunted
live
village
stream.
while
It's
dealing
when
with
the video
amnesia.
uploads after it's already live, as if we can go back into the video and re-edit,
But that's
audio
not the
to
only
make us
case to
quieter.
crack.
Mhm.
or as if we even would do that. Because if you just want to watch the thing, then go watch it. Like,
Yeah.
So
Super weird.
But we're back up to
In the other
It's just
games,
people not
you'll
understanding
investigate a
what the point of things
supernatural
are, I
rumor
guess.
after a mysterious
Yeah,
death
but
to free
anyways,
students from a sinister nightmare.
something interesting
Interrogate
about
suspects
the
and hunt for clues to
Devolver
piece together these
digital
chilling
thing.
conundrums.
that I
Can you
sort of
figure out who the
mentioned
culprit
yesterday
is before
with
it's
you
too
guys.
late?
when the direct was announced, if you remember what I said.
So you gotta repeat that.
Fall Guys.
Uncover
Fall
the
Guys,
deadly
yeah.
truth in Famicom
Devolver
Detective
Digital.
Club, The Missing Heir,
There's something I
and
mentioned
Famicom
about
Detective Club,
the
The Girl
Nintendo
Who
Direct
Stands Behind.
yesterday
Coming
Mhm.
to Nintendo Switch May
in the
14th.
Discord chat.
Pre-orders begin today on
That's
Nintendo eShop.
what it was, without saying.
Ah,
A new age
A
of
new age.
battles begins.
of
What
battles.
will you do? There's no Zelda announcement. I will just sadly anticipate the Zelda Direct that comes in a few days, if this isn't it. Because what I was told is that Zelda
I feel like if they do anything Zelda in this direct, it's gonna completely overshadow everything else. So I
doesn't
don't
it
really.
always though?
Pardon?
Doesn't it
The
always?
latest entry
Oh, of
in the
course.
Samurai Warriors franchise is coming to
Um,
Nintendo Switch. Dive into the history
No, I
of the
mean, like,
Sengoku period.
they,
as the
there's a
series
few
now
things they
shines
could
the
do that even
spotlight
if they
on
showed off
Nobunaga
Breath of the
Oda
Wild
and
too, would be
Hide
more
Akechi.
talked about by the
Character
wider
designs and
community.
visuals have been
Like,
revamped.
something like Sora for Smash.
Mm-hmm.
For this installment.
What could
Unleash
be the
high-octane
equivalent?
moves
Metroid
in
Prime 4?
electrifying one versus
Right.
Although not really, because it sells like half as much as
1,000
Zelda,
battles.
and Zelda sells like a quarter of what
In
Mario
Samurai
does. So
Warriors 5, slashing its way onto
Pikmin
Nintendo
4?
Switch summer
question mark says in
2021.
the chat.
I don't think there's gonna be Pikmin 4, but
Bayonetta 3.
The vast world of Fadiel beckons.
Are you saying that's what Nintendo can reveal? That would
After
be
20 long years,
as big as
Legend of
Breath of the
Mana
Wild 2? For Daniel, yes.
featuring
Pikmin 4.
remastered
That would be
HD
great.
graphics is coming to Nintendo Switch.
Legend of Mana, okay.
You'll set off on a journey to find the mystical mana tree seen in a dream. Before discovering
It looks like the
world
graphics
map,
for this are a
is
little
empty.
polished up,
during
you
your
know?
travels, you'll acquire special items called artifacts.
Yeah.
Place them on the map to bring towns, dungeons, and other lands to life. It's up to you
I've seen
on
someone
when and
talking
where
about
to place
this
artifacts,
being on the
as well
direct
as how to
as well.
advance the story.
But honestly, I thought it was already
Join
on the
forces with
Switch, so I was
characters,
like,
each on their own personal
sure.
quests.
I was probably thinking it was
Square
secret
off
in
against
there, though.
fearsome monsters.
I like the
Or take a break from
visuals of
adventure
this,
and
actually.
rest up at home.
Oh, is
The
that?
music has been rearranged for this
Monster
enhanced
Hunter?
version,
Yeah,
and
Monster
you
Hunter.
can alternate
Okay.
between the new
Tricked
arrangements
me
and
at
the
first.
original soundtrack.
I seen the sand fly
features
up,
have
and I was
been
like,
added,
is that Great
including
Odysseus?
the ability to
Okay, I think I'm a little behind you here, but I'm gonna see if I can jump forward
No,
with it.
you don't jump forward. I pause. Time waits for you, Daniel.
If it's just Monster Hunter, I'm not worried. Okay.
We may be getting some interesting online stuff announced as well. Like, if DLC is shown off for Age of Clams, then there might also be online support for multiplayer, because I read a thing saying that the big reason that, for example, every single Dynasty Warriors game, except for the Nintendo ones, all have online multiplayer.
Right.
And even though there's an interview a year ago from the president of Nintendo saying they were going to put a big focus on their online service and DLC. So Age of Calamity was like the biggest game that released last year. That wasn't any of the Mario things.
Right.
And why did it not have support for their online thing that they also said they're trying to push really hard, when literally every single other Dynasty Warriors game already has online multiplayer?
Yeah, that,
this
that
game-
would have been a good one for our online.
So it's finally
Yeah.
beginning.
So the thing is, Nintendo
Assemble the villagers.
X, I think,
50
is
years ago.
upgrading their online service because they've been using the same online whatever.
Right, for like a decade or something.
Yeah, since like they had the DS. So
We suffered some devastating casualties.
that could be the reason why games like Dynasty Warriors Age of Calamity or Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity doesn't have the online quality that they expect, since it already has multiplayer. And then even games like the new Pokemon games have
Here, I'm just gonna pause mine for a second.
there's like a
here.
second or two for lag.
Yeah, the Pokemon one is weirdly janky actually, for Pokemon Sword Shield. I feel like
Hopefully that lag will go away with the upgrades.
yeah, it's
Or-
just really bad on my end here. I'm probably like I'm almost a minute behind for some reason. Let's see if I can.
You just snapped the stinger. Mario Golf.
Mario Golf.
Mario Golf.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what I'm gonna sneak into here
Yeah.
when I scrub ahead?
Greg mentioned this with a winky face. So I was kind
here
of
it is.
expecting it.
The fairway is open
Look
once
at that.
again.
When was the
Alright.
last Mario Golf game? Like GameCube or something?
3DS maybe.
Maybe.
All right, so I'm paused, letting Daniel catch up. Now we're
Tee
playing
off in the latest installment of the
Yoshi.
Mario Golf series.
Waluigi. Were you seeing those at the same time?
Coming to Nintendo Switch.
Super Rush. There it
Study
is. The
wind and
title.
terrain. Take
Just
your
came up
time to
here.
think things through.
This is
Then
interesting.
Swing.
I never played any of the other Mario Golf games.
All right, it's zooming in on the thing, and it just hit the ball.
Enjoy golfing with familiar
Hopefully we're
Mushroom
caught up.
Kingdom characters on
course you
courses
get-
filled with lush, natural scenery.
RPG says Mario.
That leaked, did it?
Yeah. So
Use
that could have been
features
what
on
the
the
winky
greens,
face
like a
was
shot
about.
gauge,
Greg.
to see how your shot will curve due to slopes, and a scan that lets you
Oh, it's,
examine
you
a
can run
course's
around and
terrain.
stuff too. Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
These features can help you
Are you caught up? Is Luigi skating on ice,
No, it's.
but on grass?
I don't know why it's buffering so bad.
play things at play. Make use of
Oh,
dashes
there
and
he's running.
special shots to beat
Okay.
the
With
competition.
With the star, it looks like. Wow.
Oh, did we
We're
mention
gonna do this one more time.
story mode?
Story
As
mode.
a Wii character,
more
you'll
Mario.
Start out as a rookie
Yeah, that
and
leaked.
develop your
Monster
golfing
Hunter
skills
Edition
while
for Zelda
interacting with
Anniversary.
various Mushroom Kingdom characters.
Okay, this is
Level up
neat.
with
Having a
experience
story
points
mode with
earned
your
during
knee.
matches. Then
Do you see Rainbow
allocate
Mario?
points to different
Yeah, I'm past
stats,
that now.
allowing
Okay,
you to develop
good.
your character
caught
however
up.
you'd like.
Yeah, now
You
we're
can
looking at
also
story mode here. That's kind of neat here.
use
Yeah.
your me in versus
Blue
play.
ball just went towards
Put
the
your
hole.
golfing skills to the test
Maybe.
when
Purple girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we're all
Mario
good.
Golf
We're all good.
Super Rush
Available,
swings onto Nintendo
June
Switch
25th.
June 25th.
Just
now
in
you-
time for summer. Okay, hold on here.
No,
Let's see if
catching
I'm
up.
just pausing this for a second here on this.
Oh,
No. Just so we can get synced up here. I'm gonna pause it for a sec on this
I
screen.
skipped forward. It's Mario again.
Is it?
Mario and Luigi and Peach and Bowser. Mario running. Yoshi on an egg. Mario got a star. Now it's Nintendo guy again.
Okay. Now let's see.
Now it's gonna like a bunch of games coming up.
Oh
at
my
once.
gosh. I
This guy
somehow
digging.
accidentally clicked right off the screen.
That was Borderlands.
That's okay. You know, maybe refreshing it will help. Will help things adjust here.
That was Borderlands 2 and 3 for Switch.
Aren't those already on Switch?
32 of
don't
Capcom's
know.
most
Okay.
beloved arcade classics are
Capcom
coming to
arcade
Nintendo
Or no,
Switch.
this is the
Rewind
this is the
gameplay,
story game.
adjust game speed or difficulty, and
Tales
select
from
from a
Borderlands.
variety of display options to relive that sweet
When are we gonna
arcade
get
goodness.
Strikers though?
Get 1943
Strikers,
The
I
Battle of
remember
Midway
really
for
liking,
free.
actually.
Then purchase game
I had
packs
the
or
Wii one.
standalone Ghosts and
Yeah.
Goblins add-on to build your collection.
What part are you
Local
at right
co-op
now?
play is also available.
We're looking at
Scratch that
Capcom arcade
nostalgic
stuff.
itch when Capcom Arcade Stadium launches
1943?
later today.
The timestamp?
Ghosts and Goblins?
Brains.
Yeah.
As
yeah.
a zombie,
And now we're
just
just
can't
past
get
that.
enough of 'em. In this
Or
action
the next
game,
game.
from Aspyr,
It's a zombie
you'll build
game.
your zombie horde and take revenge on the city
After
by
the Capcom
turning
pack?
humans into
Yeah.
your undead allies. Replenish your bodily
So
arsenal.
this is weird.
Freedom Head,
Most
shot
zombie
grenades,
games you have to
and
kill
more
the
during your
zombies.
grisly mission. This city ain't no match for a dead
This
man.
zombie game, you
Stubbs
are the
Zombie
zombies.
and Rebel Without a Pulse eats its way onto Nintendo
yeah.
Switch March 16th. Pre-orders begin today on
They're on
Nintendo
a
eShop.
jetpack.
Yeah.
Now there's a hover thing.
Hover tank. Okay, next game
It's
is Travis Touchdown.
versus
Okay, a lot of people were
Assassins.
hoping for
Wait,
this.
Aliens?
Yeah.
A lot of No
Aliens
More
have
Heroes.
invaded Earth.
Travis
Hold up,
Touchdown
is
thing.
this even the right game?
Mhm.
Yeah, No
Anyway,
More Heroes 3.
After
Here we go.
annihilating an
I've seen a lot of
entire
people
city,
saying
the
No More
aliens
Heroes
have
3 is
taken
coming
over
as well.
and now host an
They-
intergalactic
too much
superhero
Mario at this
ranking
point.
tournament
When,
inside Earth's fate.
When they
As
first
the crass
were like
green
showing off the
katana-wielding
Switch,
assassin Travis
they
Touchdown
announced that No More Heroes
will need
3
to fight
was
your way to the
starting
top to
development.
save the world.
Yeah.
This was like 2017.
Hey,
Well,
not so fast.
if you remember,
To
Tantalus
enter
did
each
the
boss
same
fight,
thing,
you'll have
where
to
they're
use
like,
the
yeah, we have a
around town
bunch
and earn enough to
of
pay off the entry.
Nintendo
You'll then face
games
off
coming
against
to
a slew
Switch.
of unusual
And then
enemies.
they just
Most of them
never
aliens
announced
with some
them.
crazy tricks
Yeah.
up their sleeves.
But basically, like in that Switch
Study their tactics
presentation,
carefully
this is
to
like
gain the
January
upper hand in
2017.
combat.
The guy, the director of the
With a
game,
new
came on
and
stage.
improved
He was
death
supposed to
glove,
do
you'll
like they
have
had all
access
these
to a
game
variety
trailers
of
they were
deadly
showing, and
skills
then he
that
just
can
came on
be
stage just like,
customized
"Yep,
and upgraded
I'm
before
making No
each
More
match.
Heroes 3 for Switch." So,
The
yep.
fate of the world
and
is
that
at
was
stake.
that was his whole
So
thing.
get ready to kick some
So,
clever aliens have that you can kick.
Especially looking at the motion
Anyway,
controls
it all
Skyward Sword
makes
has.
sense when No More Heroes 3 lands on Earth.
I don't.
Or, you
No
know,
more.
If they redid
Nintendo
Skyward Sword, I
Switch,
think they would
August
have
27th.
traditional controls as well.
you would think so.
Because they fixed all of the
Exterminate
other
demons
major
in
complaints
Heaven.
about Sky or their other HD remakes.
Mm.
Like
As
not even the
above,
HD remakes. Ocarina of Majora, they
so
tried
below.
fixing things that they
Why
thought.
do they need
bad
assassins
in
in
that.
heaven?
Not saying the motion
Do
controls
someone's
is
dirty
bad,
work.
but they try to fix the issues that most players had with each game. So they took out they shortened the Tears of Light stuff. They shortened Triforce Quest.
Mhm.
They put colored lines for you to literally follow in the water temple because everyone complained about it.
Right.
They made the bosses in Majora's Mask easier by
It's kill or be
making it
killed.
more obvious where to
You won't
attack.
last long
Yeah.
if
So
you
if they've
rely
done
on
stuff like
yourself.
that, I think, I think it would be easy for them to do the motion control to traditional
God's
control.
judgment
I guess. Yeah.
has nothing to do with it.
Especially since like they've edited and completely redesigned enemies and boss battles in previous games, like Majora's Mask.
Right.
Like
Uncover
completely
Heaven's mysteries in neon white,
drawing
coming
them,
to Nintendo
reanimating
Switch,
them because
winter
now they got
2021.
giant eyeballs,
Hmm.
making the attack
DC
pattern.
superhero girls are here.
If you're
to
doing that
save
for
the
main
day.
boss fights,
Hi
and
everyone,
completely
my name's
redesigning
Barbara
them,
Gordon,
then you can also do that or
aka
normal
Batgirl.
enemies.
I'm always inventing new gadgets to fight crime.
Are you
not
saying
Like
this
my batarangs
DC
and that-
Yeah,
superheroes
Batgirl.
game?
This is
Yeah.
Supergirl. She's super strong and has heat.
Layla likes that.
I'm
Plus
not a
super
fan of
breath.
this art style, to be honest.
And let's not forget
That's
Wonder
the.
Woman,
It looks the same
an
as the
Amazonian
cartoon.
warrior who wields the
Is there a
lasso
cartoon that
of
looks like
truth.
this?
The
Along
exact
with
same.
our friends
Okay.
Green Lantern, Bumblebee, and Zatanna,
Here's my
we
issue
fight
though. The
evil
voiceover
supervillains
that's
to
happening
keep
right
our
now,
city safe.
super annoying.
But we're not just about
Oh.
the super life. We also have our school lives, and trust
I'm not
me,
feeling
there's
it.
never a dull moment at Metropolis High School.
I feel like
No,
these characters, like
Sometimes it'd be
Batgirl and
nice to get
Supergirl,
out of
like
class and
they
do some
deserve better
shopping
than this.
downtown with my besties.
That's my honest
Maybe take
opinion.
some photos to share
Those
on
characters are
Superstar
legacy
Post while
characters.
at it.
They deserve better than
Hey, I got a comment
this
already.
teeny bopper
Nice.
crap.
I definitely want
That's-
to hit up
The,
Sweet Justice later.
The woman who did
Uh-oh,
the
something
original
really bad is
design
threatening the city.
aesthetic
No
Yeah.
one could have seen it coming.
that-
But when
that
justice
you're hating on?
calls,
Yep.
you can count on us
No,
to
I
answer
understand.
No matter what.
It's not just the look, but it's
Just
like
gotta make
the
sure
whole
no one figures out our
visuals, like
secret
everything about
identities.
this game.
Yeah,
The
they tried to
concepts,
make
the
it-
DC
gameplay.
superhero girls, Teen Power.
They try to
heroically
make it
sourced
for,
onto
like,
Nintendo Switch, June 4th.
Toddlers and try to make it cute.
Toddlers deserve better.
Ready to
My
use
son
cannons
beat
and prepare for battle.
Breath of the Wild at age 4. Kids are smarter than game developers give them credit for. I'm just putting that out there.
Did I send you the interview with Miyamoto when he was letting his kid play Super Mario 64?
Yeah.
He was worried
Plants vs.
about-
Zombies. Isn't
was
this like a
worried about-
decade too late?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like 10 years ago, Plants vs. Zombies was friggin' everywhere.
Tablets, Xbox.
I had it on my
Give it away
iPod
for
Touch.
free.
So there you go. Back in the day. This this is like very different than Plants vs Zombies 10 years ago.
Did you watch the video I posted yesterday?
Yeah.
When I was talking about their comments, Nintendo's comments on Switch Pro, that as long as they can continue to push the Switch with new ideas and innovation and stuff like that, and they continue to develop for the Switch. But it's like games like this are just now coming to Switch.
But this isn't
And-
like the old Plants vs Zombies. This looks like an original new one, right?
Anyone can.
Yeah, but still, it's
Was
like
this
Band together on a
Mitomo?
quest to face
Miitopia.
evil and save
Yeah.
faces.
it's like a
Miitopia
3DS
is coming to
game.
Nintendo
Yeah,
Switch.
yeah, there was a 3DS one.
Cast me characters
Yeah.
in various roles
because
across the
you
kingdom.
could get a Link hat for your Mii
Turn your
character.
favorite people into your allies,
I remember.
or even make someone the nefarious Dark
Also, I
Lord.
found my Mii hat. My Link hat.
Makeup has
Perfect.
been added as a new feature in this
You
game.
see it?
Glam
It's
up your
lovely.
Miis and get them
It's-
ready
I
it's
for
thought
a
it was
adventure.
lost forever, but I went on a quest.
There's also a new
as
wig
one
feature,
does.
letting you
when they're
go wild with your
searching
Mii
for Zelda
creations and
items.
make them even
Okay,
more
And I found it in
senseless.
my storage unit.
These Miis are like way more elaborate.
In the world of Miitopia,
that
No.
relationships are key.
The
Your
Mii's in
classes.
Breath
So
of the
consider
Wild
spending some
are way
quality
more.
time
No,
with
those are
allies to
very
strengthen
elaborate.
bonds.
that was such an interesting
This can give
tidbit.
you an advantage during
Yeah.
battle.
You know?
And it wasn't the first time they did it either, because they said after they made
your
the world of
relationship
Twilight
sour, though,
Princess, or
things
maybe when
might
they were
take a
working
turn
on
for the
Twilight
worse.
Princess 2, they filled Hyrule with Mii characters to see what it would be like
You can have a
completely
horse as an
populated,
ally?
Mhm.
like they wanted
That
it to
sounds
be.
pretty darn good.
But I
Get for
imagine
it, and
for
it'll
the
lend a
game it wasn't as
hand, or
powerful as the
poof,
Wii,
in
they weren't
battle.
able to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Venture with friends and
Makes
familiar
sense.
faces in the lighthearted romp
Interesting,
Miitopia. Coming to
Something
Nintendo
that
Switch,
made me
May 21st.
sad
Pre-orders
was
begin
I found
today
out
on Nintendo
I
eShop.
was watching the Did You Know Gaming. It said the Wii was originally a lot more powerful than it
Super
was,
Mario
but
themed items are
Nintendo
coming to your island.
Animal Crossing
close too
update.
much. They-
Super Mario Brothers
yeah.
35th
Hold up.
anniversary
We're
themed
expecting
items are
this.
coming to the Animal Crossing New Horizons game.
Super Mario
Those are the
outfits.
DLC.
Look at the house.
Familiar
It's a Mario
items
house.
like the Super
There's
Mushroom
blocks and
and the
mushrooms.
question block can be ordered
Sorry.
in-game as furniture
Someone said,
items.
now, someone said that Animal Crossing was going
So
to get
play
some
them
Zelda
however
stuff.
and wherever
They-
you'd like.
They announced there was going to be Mario stuff back in like September,
You can
and then
also
they
place
never
2
said
warp
anything
pipes.
about it. But this is
Yeah,
great.
I
You could go in the
expect
pipe.
And
everything
use them
that
to
is
travel
Mario.
between locations on your island.
I expect everything that is Mario.
Hey, why not try recreating the Mushroom Kingdom?
This is fantastic.
A free update for the game
February
launches
25th.
February 25th.
That is
After
fantastic.
downloading it, Super Mario Brothers items will be available via Nook
One
Shopping
mushroom?
starting March 1st.
Yeah.
Shell, Princess Peach Crown,
Keep an
Wario.
eye on the official Animal Crossing Twitter account
Who
for the latest
would torture
information.
their Animal Crossing characters by making them wear Wario costumes?
Not me. Not
We
me.
hope you continue enjoying life on your island.
Oh my gosh, that's great. People were saying like, before, like, that there
How
wasn't
was
enough
that?
crossover items.
These collaboration
So, I'm
items
glad it's-
will be
it's
released
coming out.
as part of the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary events. Please wait a bit longer for their
Fantastic.
release.
That's actually
Speaking
so
of which,
fantastic.
Last week,
Ooh,
we
Bowser's
had the
Fury.
global launch
Right.
for the Super Mario 3D
Which I was just
World
playing,
plus
like, an hour-
Bowser's
an
Fury
hour
game.
Are they
ago.
going to show off the trailer for
I
it?
hope
They don't
you
need
enjoy
to.
that
we
Mario
don't.
adventure
We were
as
just
well.
playing this game. We don't need to see the trailer.
Next, we have another game to show you.
Another game. Okay. I'm really glad we both did that without planning that. To each their own convictions.
Oh, this is what's the name?
Is this Fire Emblem or?
Yeah, that's what I was
or-
thinking.
The drawings kind of remind me of Octopath. Actually, the art,
Isn't it
like
three
the drawings.
houses?
But maybe.
Because they had 3 color flames. HD2. Oh no, this is your.
He leaves us no recourse.
What is it?
This is the game that Sean was in.
Octopath. Oh, so it is Octopath. I called it Octopath.
Are these the ways
This,
of the
Our
world?
good friend Vivali.
Raised
I have to-
earth and birth
He's in the first
Shamefully say that I never finished Octopath. I got very bored of it actually. But the thing is, the
Oh.
art and the dialogue are all great. It's just the gameplay is so boring and repetitive. That's my honest opinion.
A lot of people wanted A Link to the Past style.
I'd be down as hell for A Link to the Past in that art
to
style.
see us through this safely, every last one of us.
So
yeah,
is
I've
this
seen
a
the Three
sequel?
Flames, and I thought Project Triangle Strategy.
Interesting.
far
It's even the
away
same
lies the
fonts, so
continent
it
of
must be like a
Nozilia,
sequel.
comprised
or
of
like a
3
Well, they
successor.
said
and limited
when it
deposits
popped
of
up,
salt
the reason I
and
knew it was
iron.
Project
The constant
Octopath or
feuds
related
among
was
the
because it
nations
said
over
it was
these
HD2D, which is what they named the
resources
engine
eventually
they
ignited
created
into a
for
great
Octopath.
conflict
Right.
known as the Salt
Um,
Iron War.
So
Though the hostilities
maybe
ceased
it could
with
be
an
Octopath.
uneasy truce,
Could be.
decades
Maybe it's
later, the
just another
flames
game
of
using the
war
engine.
threatened to engulf the realm once again.
Everyone in chat's like, why no Zelda? Why no Zelda?
It's
Caught in
I
a tangled,
said outright when
wily
we started
web
this,
of
I don't
plots
think there's
and
going to be much Zelda in
conspiracies,
this, if
a brave
any.
group from Glenbrook
But
fights to save their
because
kingdom
I think
from
they're
the
going to give
powers
Zelda
that
its
would
very
orchestrate
own,
their downfall.
I hope, its very own dedicated direct.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Remember how much they announced in the E3 Direct when
In this
we
new
were there
tactical
last?
RPG,
2019.
battles take place on
Yeah.
terrain
Almost 2 years
different
ago.
elevations.
And they had
Characters'
tons of
attack
stuff in
range
that.
is
That's true.
determined by their location
And
then
that
they
was
just
a
slipped
lot
Zelda
shorter.
in at the
The
end.
range can be
Yeah,
extended by
but
I can get
this
that.
is like
higher
10 or
ground
20
with
minutes longer
long-range
than that
weapons, such as
direct.
bows and
Yeah.
arrows. Thus,
It's literally
forces
bigger
can
than the
use
past
terrain
couple
and
of
other
E3
elements to gain
which
is
the
weird.
upper hand.
I love Zelda, but it's not the only
Enemy outflanked
IP,
is
so
susceptible
keep
not
that in mind,
only to your
guys.
initial attack, but
There's
also a
more to
powerful
Nintendo
blow
than
from
just
the
Zelda.
ally positioned
Yeah,
behind
as soon as
the
I
enemy.
seen this was 50 minutes, I was thinking, oh, there's going to be a lot of third-party stuff.
Charge
Yeah.
into an enemy to send them flying into
This feels
position
like
for
an
a
E3
follow-up
Direct with
attack.
how much stuff they're powering
We
through, you
will.
know?
Link
Yeah.
attacks together
I
by
think some of it
first
is.
casting ice magic on the
That they had
flames to
Mario
create
stuff
water
left over
terrain.
from the canceled E3. They had
Then
third-party stuff left
electrify
over
the
from
area with
canceled E3.
lightning magic.
Maybe some of the stuff they wanted to show off at Game Awards was
It
stuff
is of
that
the
they originally
utmost
had for E3.
importance to
Maybe.
survey the battlefield
Maybe.
before taking action.
What did they show off at Game Awards?
At Game Awards?
Yeah.
Not much. I don't even remember. They had a lot of
Throughout the
Pokemon
story,
stuff,
you will
like
be faced with
Pokemon
making
Go
important
updates and stuff
decisions
like that,
in
but
a variety of
I
situations.
don't remember what else, if anything.
Yeah. Pokemon put out some
Utility,
teases for
morality,
There was that
Wow.
Vin Diesel
liberty.
game.
upcoming Direct.
Collectively,
Oh,
your
jeez.
decisions will establish your
I actually, in my
conviction,
head, I was like, oh, that
affecting how
kind of
the
looks
story
interesting. And
unfolds
then
and
I seen Vin
who will
Diesel and I
join
was
your
like, nope.
cause.
Like,
Once
thinking
more,
that
I
Vin
would
Diesel
ask
would
you
make the
plainly,
game sell more. Actually,
do
make
we
people
or
have
don't
interest.
Yeah.
relinquish
Thinking
control
Terry
of
Crews
to
can make a game
Azeroth?
sell? Okay.
Critical
Yeah.
I love
decisions
Terry
that may
Crews.
determine the fates of
He's great.
nations are
Because Terry
settled
Crews
by
doesn't
vote
pretend
on
to
the scales
like
of
he's
conviction.
amazing at
Use
everything.
information
No,
you've
that's
Like,
gathered
he-
to sway
There's
allies
this,
Most of his jokes
toward
are
your favorite cause.
There's this, I cannot believe, it's totally not the
The
kind of show
story
I'd
will
normally get into, but there's a show called
significantly
Ultimate
change based on how the
Beastmaster.
votes are
It's one of those like
cast.
obstacle course
So they
shows.
refuse to relinquish it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I started watching it because Terry
Lies.
Crews was the
His hand
host
was forced.
for the first season
As
of it.
more and more critical
And like
decisions
he
are
is
made, your journey
so
may take you
enthusiastic, but
down
he's also
paths
quite humble. Like the
divergent
co-host would
from
compliment
those of
him,
other
and he'd
players.
always just be like,
You will
"No,
see
like
what
just
true
you know,
might
he's not
is."
he's not a cocky guy. He's very humble. But he's also
Project
Terry Crews,
Triangle
and he's
Strategy, a
you
brand
know
new
like
tactical RPG
he has no
with
reason to be
Square
humble.
Will launch in
So Triangle
2022.
Strategy launched in
Please be on the
2022.
lookout for
So
more
I don't think
information
Triangle Strategy is
in the
going to be the
future.
name, but wasn't the original
After this
titled
presentation,
Project
a demo
Octopath
version
Traveler,
of
and then it
this
became
game will
Octopath
be
Traveler?
available
I think it
to
was just
download
Project
on
Octopath,
Nintendo eShop.
and then
And
they
in
called
the
it Octopath
future,
Traveler.
we'll
But
conduct a
I might be
survey
wrong.
to gather player
But yeah,
feedback.
Triangle Strategy is not a
We
bad
look
name,
forward to
really.
hearing
So
your responses on
No,
the
it's
demo.
very to the point, like Untitled Goose Game.
very to the point.
Please look forward to future updates on this brand
It's
new
like, let's make
tactical
something like
RPG
Fire
from Square
Emblem Three
Enix.
Houses.
Okay,
Right.
let's see
Which
a
did
few
not
more
have the
Nintendo
Have-
Switch
Triangle.
headlines.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Calling,
Calling
all
all
hunters.
is what is this?
Do
Oh,
you
this
have what
is
it takes?
Star Wars? Bounty Hunters?
Bounty. Oh yeah, Bounty Hunters.
Or
Well,
is
there's a
this
thing for
gonna be a
People thought
Fortnite?
Metroid was gonna be
It's gonna be Fortnite.
not Metroid. I said Metroid. People thought Samus was going to be. No, I'm sticking to it. Metroid. For Fortnite. That's who she is, right?
But if this is a legit
Star Wars Hunters.
game, okay, it is. It is actually like its own game. Star Wars Hunters. Interesting.
Star Wars Hunters is a competitive, free-to-play online game set between episodes 6 and
Free
7.
to play
Clash in
online
this
game.
third-person shooter coming to Nintendo Switch
It's
in
gonna be a battle
2021.
royale. It's gonna be
They
Fortnite,
said-
but Star Wars.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, yeah, here's.
Oh, and here's actual Fortnite, isn't it?
Do I look at you or the camera?
Or Knockout City.
What?
We all play for different reasons.
Korgan love battle. Korgan use many weapons.
What is this?
Triple-bladed
Knockout
war
City?
axe, spear
Is-
of misery, Hades,
Probably like a
sword
knockoff
fire,
Fortnite.
crossbow.
A princess is supposed to lead her
Maybe.
people, not be stuck up in some tower
But
waiting
the
for a
2D
hero.
girl,
In my line of work, Bullets are constantly
Weird.
whizzing past you.
Flaming longsword, blade of
It's
doom.
funny how these are
Just
all
once.
like
Just
different
once
styles
I'd like to
of
catch
like
one of them
Yeah.
bullets.
you've got your
with
COD guy,
my hands.
your
With this
your
crown,
Warcraft
I'm gonna lead
orc
my team
dude.
to victory and kick some serious ass.
Look, it's simple.
Korgan want new weapons.
Is it like a
Knockout City,
Smash
I'm like a
Bros?
Kung Fu master. I can catch
Is it? I don't know.
bullets.
Okay, here's actual gameplay.
okay.
This is like Blast Ball, Metroid Prime Blast Ball,
It's like a sports oriented.
or Rocket League.
Let's find out what
But then the girl's not even 2D in the game. That takes all the appeal.
Yeah, it would have been neat to have like a single or a couple characters that are just like 2D for some reason.
Well, yeah, that. But like you were saying, each of the characters in the cinematic looks like different art styles. So that would have been interesting.
That would have been neat, but then in the actual gameplay, it is not the case.
That looks like the girl from what is it, Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah,
Can we redesign our characters? You're not a team if you're not wearing a uniform.
Max, this is a war zone, not a bloody
So I thought it was funny they had that Star Wars game. They made sure to say it was set between episode 6 and 7. And I think that's so they could still have some of the main characters still alive.
yeah, and maybe slide in Mandalorian stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. The fight, for, survival.
starts now.
Oh.
I'm glad this is stabilized on my stream a bit here.
You're all going to play a little game of fate
Just
for me.
hope it
From
didn't
the
jinx
creators of the Danganronpa and Zero Escape series comes a fight for your life.
What
Literally,
is this?
disoriented and trapped in an
Danganronpa.
underwater theme
It's like
park,
an evil,
the 12
scary
of you,
teddy bear
known
guy.
as the Go-Getters Club, must now survive this game
The
of fate
Go-Getters
at all
Club?
costs.
What a name.
I don't want to die yet. Sorry to scare you all, but the game is canceled.
Oh no!
The game is suddenly called
Breath of the
off.
Wild 2 is canceled. No,
You
just
escape
No,
the
I
theme park
posted
and
that
get a
tweet
glimpse of
saying
Japan,
just as
but
Twilight
everyone's
Princess 2 was
vanished.
canceled for
Set off on a
Link's
captivating
crossbow
journey
training,
across
Breath
the
of the Wild
country
2 should
that
be
blends
canceled
side-scrolling
for
action with
crossbow
suspenseful
training HD.
narrative.
how dare you?
As you make your way back
Someone
home
got
to
really
Tokyo,
upset and
you'll
was like,
alternate
"You're
between
joking,
working
right?"
solo and teaming up with the group to overcome
Yes.
challenges and
Obvious.
monsters that stand in your way.
But
What
to be
awaits
fair,
you
it
all
was
at
a
the end
smart
of your
decision
journey?
for
The
Nintendo.
battle for survival
I mean,
begins
sure, I guess,
in World's
but-
End Club. Venturing
Because, like,
onto
Wind
Nintendo
Waker-
Switch, May 28th.
From a
Sold
business
less.
standpoint.
Yeah,
I
Wind
get
Waker
it.
sold less than
Wield the powers of Olympus with the physical release of
Triforce
Hades.
Heroes, or not Triforce Heroes. but-
Hades, the critically acclaimed dungeon crawler and recipient of multiple Game of the Year awards, is getting a physical release
Okay,
on
Hades
Nintendo
is
Switch.
getting a physical
This version
release.
comes with a couple of extras.
I never
to
played
assist you
Hades,
on
but
your
it's one of
journey
those
out the
games
underworld.
that's
The
it's
first is a PC download
generating a
code
lot of
for
hype.
the Hades original soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's packed with 2.5 hours of blood-pumping music composed
It looks
by Darren
like it would
Korb,
be a fun
known for his work on previous Supergiant
multiplayer
titles
game
like
for
Transistor and
I-
Bastion. The second is a 32-page full-color character compendium
Those
featuring
require
portraits of the
friends
game's
to play
vibrant
with.
cast of gods, ghosts,
But these sort of
and
like
monsters,
Diablo
all by
style dungeon
Supergiant's
crawler
art director,
games
Gen Z.
like this.
And let's
I've
not
always
forget
felt
the game itself, offering dozens of hours of
visually to
exhilarating
be a little
action paired
overwhelming.
with a
Like
compelling
it's
story.
like there's always so much going on,
Escape
and it's
the
like hard
underworld
for me to.
again, or for the first time.
Whenever I see trailers of
with
this,
the
I'm
physical
like,
version
I
of
can't even
Hades
focus
on March 19th.
what's going on. You know what I mean?
3 deadly
That's just
action
me.
games.
Maybe if
No,
maybe I would
it's,
feel
uh,
different if I actually played it.
What's it called? I forgot the name. How could I forget the name?
Ninja
Ninja
Gaiden
Gaiden. Yeah.
Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2,
Master Collection.
and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge are coming to Nintendo Switch as the action-packed Ninja Gaiden Master Collection.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Okay, I missed it.
Am I?
No, that's cool. I can just
You
press
are
the
the
arrow button.
legendary ninja
There we
Ryu
go.
Hayabusa, fighting against a great evil with battle skills that are second to none. Wield an
Okay.
arsenal of killer weapons, each offering a playstyle with different set of lethal skills, along with ruthless ninjutsu to swiftly take down enemies.
When I heard you say Master's Collection, I was like, what?
Quickly
Something
gauge your
Zelda?
opponent's movements
No,
while
no,
unleashing
just the
fast and
Ninja
frenzied
Gaiden Master
combos,
Collection.
Yeah.
I wish it was something Zelda.
and team up with other super
Gene
ninjas
Bomb
in
and
your
Jet
quest to
says
fulfill
Link's
your
crossbow
destiny.
training 1, 2, and 3.
It's the
All
trilogy.
previous downloadable content, including
Nate
costumes
on his
and game modes, are
podcast
included.
mentioned Metroid Prime 5 was going to release
Revel
before
in the
Metroid Prime
intensity
4.
of Ninja Gaiden in
jeez.
one dynamic collection.
That's
Ninja
funny.
Gaiden Master Collection.
No
slices its way
Zelda
onto
yet.
Nintendo Switch,
Nothing yet.
summer 2021.
So with June 10th, okay, well, I probably will not get that.
Faces of Evil, Wand of Gamelon, and Zelda's Adventure.
Oh,
But
here we go.
More battles are coming to
Hyrule
Hyrule
Warriors,
Yeah.
Age of Calamity.
Here we go, just in time.
Here we go.
But what
This
is
is
it
all
gonna
stuff
be?
we've seen.
Is it going to be new characters or is it going to be story? I would love to see the 10,000 years ago story.
That would be neat. Since they're already time traveling, you know.
Yeah. And it's not like they haven't traveled back 1,000 years before. Okay.
This art looks great.
Expansion
though.
pass. Yeah.
What is the expansion pass? They didn't show anything new in that
Newly
those
added,
clips.
newly added costume filling. Pre-orders begin. Shop later today.
Damn it, I'm
Huh.
gonna buy it.
There's even more coming
So
to
it probably
Nintendo Switch.
might be a Zelda Direct.
They
Bravely
didn't
Default
actually
2
like as
is
far as
almost here.
except for that artwork
Four
and
heroes
the
of
info,
light
like
soon
all the
embark
clips they
on a journey
showed.
to restore the crystals.
Those were not new. Those
Use
are from the
job
base
system
game.
To develop your characters
Like,
and master the
tell
brave
me
and
more!
commands to emerge victorious in turn-based
So
battles.
it could be Zelda
Veterans
Direct
and
later on.
newcomers to the
See,
series can enjoy
I
this
didn't want to
brand new
believe him,
story on
but
February
he told me
26th.
that he didn't think this
A new
was
trailer
the
for
Zelda
Bravely
thing. Same thing
Default
you're
2
telling
will be
me.
revealed following
I
this
did not want to
presentation.
believe.
The game
Like,
can
don't
be
get me wrong,
pre-ordered
I
on
wanna be
Nintendo
wrong.
eShop. An updated demo
That
is
still
also
counts though.
available.
I said we would get at least
The
3
latest
Zelda
installment in the
announcements, and I'm
legendary
taking that
Ghosts
as
and
one.
Goblins series
There's
comes
one.
to
All right.
life.
No, I
As the
think
brave knight
Age of
Arthur,
Calamity DLC
you'll
was a
unleash
safe bet
weapons,
for sure.
spells, and skills to
For
battle
sure.
monsters across challenging stages within the Demon Realm. Local co-op play is also available for the first
Oh, I
time.
remember that.
Help Arthur in his
Ghosts and
quest
Goblins.
with
This
one of
game's
3
hard as
supporting
heck, by the way.
characters.
If you like
Barry
played
for
the
defense,
original.
Carry for transportation,
Yeah.
or Archie for bridges. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection launches February 25th. Pre-orders
I
are
don't.
available
I didn't see
now
if they said
on
it
Nintendo
when it was
eShop.
available. Just the pre-orders are available.
Yeah.
8 protagonists.
Pre-order
8 captivating
later today.
journeys. Saga
Yeah.
Frontier has been
Let me see. I'm
remastered
gonna
for
snoop
Nintendo
on
Switch.
Nintendo's Twitter and see
Travel
if they
through
have
a
a
stunning sci-fi world with any of the protagonists,
announcement.
each with their own stories. With the addition of the playable
Everyone's
protagonist
Zelda
views,
reaction to
new
the Direct
gameplay
is just going to be
features,
them like, ah,
exhilarating
okay.
battles, and a new scenario
Yeah,
for the
pretty
protagonist Acellus.
Yeah, and then if you
Saga
see anyone
Frontier
that
Remastered
is
an
actually
adventure
screaming
not to be missed. The
like
game
jumping
launches
out of the chair
April
for
15th.
that announcement, and you know they're
Apex
just
Legends
trying
is
to be
storming
hyped.
onto the Nintendo Switch system.
Written in
This
my chat
free-to-play
said it
battle
said
royale features
May
a
28th,
growing
June,
roster
and
of
November.
powerful contenders named Legends,
Okay.
strategic combat,
Interesting.
cross-platform play, and more.
So like a month.
All players on Nintendo Switch can get an
After
all-new
each.
legendary Pathfinder skin.
It's
And
But the
interesting.
first
they're
one
rolling
said it
out
was
the
just
same
like a
Season 8
weapon
Mayhem Battle Pass.
and thing for them.
Plus, for the first 2
How
weeks
is
after
that
launch, earn
DLC?
double XP when you play on Nintendo Switch. Fight
Like,
for
I guess that's
fortune,
kind of
fame,
like
and
how
glory when
the
Apex
expansion
Legends enters the
passes
fray
for
on
Breath of the
March 9th.
Wild was like, you're really buying
How's it going
expansion
so
pass
far?
1 and 2, but here's
There's still
bonus
a
content
little bit
as a
more
thank
to
you for
show
pre-order.
you in
Right.
today's Nintendo Direct,
Like, here's your
so we
Nintendo
hope you'll
Switch.
stick with us. Next, please take a look at this.
All right.
Give us Breath of the Wild.
My
Hello
man.
there. I'm Eiji Aonuma, producer of the Legend of Zelda series.
My man
I'm sure a
Onuma.
lot of you saw me and thought there might be news about the sequel to the Legend
he
of
says
Zelda
it's
Breath
coming
of the Wild game.
In a couple days, I'll be
Unfortunately, we
sad.
don't have anything to share right
He
now.
doesn't have anything to share about the
apologize.
sequel.
Development is proceeding
I don't think that's
smoothly,
true at all.
and
I don't
we
think
should be
he
able to
will.
bring you some new
It's
Looking
information
great
this
these
year.
days, eh?
For now, we'll have to ask you to wait just a bit longer.
A little more like a silver fox.
While you're all waiting, however, this
Oh, it
Legend
is
of
a new
Zelda
one.
game will be coming to Nintendo Switch.
Hold on.
Please take
While
a
we're
look.
waiting a different Zelda game.
I knew it.
Oh!
But is it
It
Tantalus?
is! It's real!
Is it
Okay!
Tantalus though? It looks like
Oh.
it might be Tantalus because when Nintendo remade Wind Waker, they actually remade it with a new engine. This looks like it does on Dolphin.
Yeah, this looks like
So I
upscaled.
think it is Tantalus. Was I right?
Oh, about time! Here we go.
Is there anything new for it? It looks amazing, though. Because even if you play on Dolphin, it has like a halo effect around it. This looks really good.
This is good.
Skyward Sword HD.
This is good. This is good.
We didn't see who made it.
What you've just
I gotta
seen is
hang
the
on, I
Legend
gotta
of
crank
Zelda
Aonuma's
Skyward Sword
volume.
HD. This
Oh, they're
game
showing-
originally released in 2011
I
on the
hope they
Wii
do like a
console,
pod.
and
It's
now it's
10th
coming to
anniversary.
Nintendo Switch.
Jesse, I called this on
The
a
Legend of
podcast
Zelda
so many
Skyward
times.
Sword featured a
2021.
control scheme in which
10
players
years
would
after
use
the
the
original.
Wii Remote Plus controller as a sword and the
Okay,
nunchuck
so
controller
motion
as a
control's still
shield.
there.
With the increased
Motion
processing
control,
power of the
course.
Nintendo Switch
The
system,
HUD
the
is
controls here are smoother
decluttered.
and
Smoothed
even
out
more
controls.
intuitive.
The HUD looks great.
And we've recreated the controls for the sword and the shield here by
Yes.
having the player hold 2 Joy-Con controllers.
Makes sense. It makes so much sense.
The Joy-Con controller in your right hand is the sword. Swing it to have Link swing his sword in the game. The Joy-Con controller in your left hand is the shield.
Are they going
By
to
lifting
announce
the
that they
controller,
swapped
you
it
can
to
raise the
left-handed
shield to
people?
block
'Cause why are
enemy
they
attacks.
talking about motion controls?
You can perform other actions
It's
like
just the
using both
same.
controllers to wield a bow
Yeah,
and arrow.
well,
They had to
These
change
physical movements
something.
add a sense of urgency and tension to combat.
Yes.
But we've also made it possible to play the game
Do
with
it.
button controls to
It's
ensure it can be
optional.
played in
This is-
handheld mode or on the
Do you
Nintendo
know
Switch Lite system.
How many people
After
told
mulling
me
over how to assign
Skyward
different
Sword was not
gameplay
released
elements to different buttons,
on
we
Switch
decided to
because
apply the sword motions to tilting the
it's
right
impossible
control
to have
stick.
traditional controls. And
So
I'm
it's-
like,
it's-
guys, it's just a thing Nintendo says.
So it's
Yes.
using the right stick.
And
Tilt the
it's
stick down
exactly
when
the
you
way
want to
I
swing the
said it was
sword
going to
downward.
be.
It is. This is great.
Swing to the right
This is
to the
literally
left,
the
or
way I
diagonally.
kept telling everyone they
Just
would
tilt
do
the
it.
stick in the
And
respective
everyone's like,
direction.
no, Nintendo wouldn't do that. They said it was impossible.
Never say
I'm
Nintendo
like,
won't
no,
do
I could-
anything. They
Here's
do what
something
they
else we've been
want.
working on.
And you Joy-Cons.
Specially
like I
designed
also
Joy-Con
said.
Oh
controllers.
God.
The right Joy-Con controller is themed after the Master Sword, while the
That's
left
it, that's
features
the
a
three
Hylian
things
shield motif.
I said
The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, as the game
Skyward
depicting
Sword,
the earliest
and
story in the Legend of Zelda
Zelda,
timeline, details the events around the
Switch.
creation of the Master Sword itself.
Those Joy-Cons are gorgeous.
We hope that people who played the original game on
Oh,
Wii and those playing it
God.
for the first time will enjoy discovering the origins of the Legend of Zelda.
Is there anything added? July 16th.
July 16th.
The Legend of Zelda Skyward
That
Sword
was
HD
amazing.
launches July 16th. Following this Nintendo Direct, you'll be able to pre-order the game on Nintendo eShop. And the specially designed Joy-Con controllers will launch on the game's release day at your local retailers. Many of you may
those
already know this,
Joy-Cons.
but The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword was the last original console game prior to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game, and it was still following the established conventions of The Legend of Zelda. However, it gave a glimpse into many features and innovations that would eventually be adopted in
think
The
it'll
Legend
have,
of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Extra
Using the
bonus dungeon or
sailcloth to
something?
descend in midair, a stamina gauge that
Maybe.
depleted as you scaled walls
I
with
hope.
vines
I hope they
or
got
ran.
add a little something extra.
Even the
you know?
concept of
'Cause
collecting items to
even,
upgrade
like
gear.
Link's Awakening had
I hope those of you who've played The
Dungeon
Legend of Zelda Breath of
Maker,
the Wild
and
will
they
give this game
kind
a
of
try
had
as
that
well.
with the dungeon in this game.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin which for the people watching, but
Please look
it's
forward to
kind
The
of the
Legend
same
of Zelda
idea. So I
Skyward
wonder if
Sword
they
HD.
like double down.
Right. I hope they add a little, like an extra dungeon or
Yeah.
even a mini dungeon or something.
Well,
but it
what
looks
did you
great.
think? The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword has been optimized for Nintendo Switch. It includes intuitive motion controls and button controls
Oh, you
by
just
tilting
tilt it.
the right control stick. Okay, the next game will
Oh,
be our
final
last announcement for
Okay,
today.
last announcement
Please
for the
take a look
day.
at this.
Not actual gameplay footage. What is
Oh.
this?
Splatoon.
Oh. Splatoon. Is it a DLC or is it like the Octo expansion or is this Splatoon 3?
I think it might be like a Splatoon adventure game. Is something I was told.
Like, cause I feel like Splatoon 2 has a lot of life in it still, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, it's like one of those once per console generation games, at least as far as I thought, like Smash, you know. Little buddy's turn. You get a little buddy.
Yeah. So I was, it was still going to have a multiplayer mode, but was going to be adventure. Like,
Yeah, that's what this looks like. Because Splatoon 1 and 2's adventure modes were subpar. They were fine, but not great.
However-
But then the Octo expansion had a great campaign. This
oh, there's a train.
looks... I'm just loving the vibe here. The whole vibes. It's like
the train
Splatoon
is like an
cross
online thing.
Borderlands.
Yeah, this is really great. If it is like an online, it has to be online. That's the Splatoon's whole thing.
Yeah.
But I imagine she's getting on a bus to ride to go to like another person's town, almost like Animal Crossing.
Maybe. This feels like Borderlands, but Splatoon. That's what this feels like to me. You played the
Wait,
first
Borderlands? If she gets on a train to go to Fortnite, I will be mad.
Oh my gosh, I'd quit right now if she went to... But no, I don't...
Oh.
This whole aesthetic is just great. The
It
whole
is.
vibe of this game.
You know, I did not believe this, but it's looking like it was true.
The music. Oh, Splatoon has a fantastic...
Splatoon 3.
Splatoon 3! They just...
But when?
Oh! The drums. This is...
Wait, so is it an adventure thing, or is it just larger? Because that city looked like it was more explored.
Right? I hope they have a more, like, fleshed out single-player campaign. But, okay.
I see a couple of them. I bet our good friend Split freaking out.
Alright. Back into the ink.
2022. No one really left the ink though. It's still very popular.
Yeah, Splatoon. I don't feel like they need to have a sequel yet, but like, sure.
What you've just seen is the latest installment in the Splatoon series, Splatoon 3. This game is scheduled to launch in 2022.
It's interesting the
so
color
it'll be a while.
scheme.
We hope you'll stay tuned
like yellow
for more
and purple.
information.
The first game is like blue and orange. The second game is green and pink. This one's like yellow and purple.
Today, we showed you a sampling of games coming to Nintendo
Nintendo
Switch.
always says we're only going to focus
A variety
on
of
games,
games are in
for
development.
the first half, for the first quarter. Then they
Right?
end up
And we
showing
look
a game
forward to
coming
sharing
up
more
in
news with you in the
I'm like,
future. That's all for
Nintendo.
today's Nintendo Direct.
You do it every
Thank
time.
To temper our expectations.
Yeah. So was that it?
I guess that's it.
What do you want to do?
Thank you.
Do you want to do a discussion? So,
All right.
RPG said, yeah, Miss Click is crying.
Miss Click is. I believe that.
Okay. So that's the 5th prediction I got right.
So, well, you said 3 Zelda things. I think we got just the 2, Age of Calamity DLC and Skyward Sword, but those were both great.
Yeah.
I called it so many
But they
times.
did mention Breath of the
We
Wild
talked
too.
Skyward Sword HD on our podcast. So many times I said, I think 2021 for its 10th anniversary, I win.
And I did not think 2021. I thought 2020. And because I thought if it came out the same year as the actual Breath of the Wild 2, then it would be overshadowed. But since they did all that Mario stuff, it would make sense for multiple stuff to come. But if Breath of the Wild 2 is not even good enough for them to show, and they said development was going smoothly, but it's been in development for like 4 years, and the actual game took like 5 years on the original.
That's true. I think there's going to be another Nintendo Direct, a Zelda themed Direct later this year.
Yes.
Maybe closer to Skyward Sword's release date, because they'll want to remind you to buy this game, closer to the release date. But maybe end of summer, we'll start seeing tons of just like a Zelda rollout. I hope. Those Joy-Cons though, Jesse, they looked so freaking good. This is the first like proper Zelda themed first party, not third party like Power A or anything, but like proper first party Zelda themed controllers for the Switch. Because Breath of the Wild didn't roll anything out because Breath of the Wild's rollout was the Switch.
Yeah.
But is it bad I'm kind of more pumped for the Joy-Cons than the game? No, the game looks great, honestly, because the HUD is a weird fixation. But like, you look at Twilight Princess, right? The original release on GameCube and Wii, the HUD is like so cluttered. And I think it was the same thing on the Wii for Skyward Sword. And part of that was because it was not HD. You had to have big HUD elements because nothing was very sharp looking, It wasn't HD. But now that we've got it in HD, they can clean up that HUD, and it looked so much better.
Yeah.
I'm big into HUDs. So, Yeah, that's definitely the highlight, though. That Skyward Sword HD. It's real.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get this. Oh, this is just a live stream, so it doesn't really matter. But I want to get it at least a little bit corrected for the people. And then if we really quick do like a 5 things that we liked or whatever, just to make it simple. So go ahead, think about what you like. People in the chat, if you noticed anything special about the direct, let me know.
So are we gonna just say like I'll just take a moment to ruminate, you know?
Yeah.
But
actually,
like our top 3 things maybe?
Let's just do it as a recorded thing. And then
right
so
now?
everyone, we can we will be.
Oh, Jesse, I lost your sound. Jesse, you might have muted yourself. Or unless it's just me. Tell you what, I'm going to pull up your stream and see if I can hear you. He hung up on me. Oh, no, he's called me back. I could hear him in his stream here. Jesse. There, you're back. Yeah, now I can hear you. Sorry about that. I just pulled up your stream and I could still hear you on your stream. So it was definitely me. But we're good.
Well, I was clicking on stuff. So
perhaps.
Sometimes I managed to click on the wrong thing. Oh, cool. So at the end of that stream, we had 163 people watching.
Nice. Very nice. Did you end the stream then?
Yeah, it is ended.
Okay, mine's still going. So
at this point,
that's fine.
At least we let them know that something's coming in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but everyone can go to yours then, right?
That's true. That is true. I gotta say that the Animal Crossing update. I'm not sure how into Animal Crossing you are, Jesse, but I'm very into it, and it looks great. I'm just scrubbing through here, and it's just like. It looks fantastic. I got it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to redeck out my whole island.
Do you want to try Discord really quick just to see how that goes?
We could if you want.
All right.
I'm kind of worried about. Actually, maybe we could wait. I'm just worried since I'm still live that it's gonna destroy my stream settings if I try and change anything.
Well, we don't have to. I just have to. Let me get this.
Okay.
Angled right.
So yeah.
Everyone already knows your name, so that's fine.
This is true. I'm just scrubbing through the stream here. So Age of Calamity expansion pass. Okay. Your purchase bonus. So the first thing is just purchase bonus, right? Like it's not part of the real DLC stuff. That's gonna come out May 28th. So added weapons and costumes. Okay. Wave 1, available June. Expanded roster. So new characters. New weapons, new challenges, okay, so more like levels, more missions, and new enemies are being added.
And that's Splatoon.
This is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. Then Wave 2, available in November. New character vignettes, okay. Newly added stages, expanded roster, more characters again. New battle skills for existing characters, so expanded movesets, I guess. That's gonna be so good. I wonder what new characters will come to Age of Calamity. You know? Are they gonna have like non Breath of the Wild characters?
For Age of I think like Linkle and people like that will show up. That wasn't in Age of Calamity.
Sure, but like, cause like if you Age of Calamity's like the first. Oh gosh, I'm like my brain is on overdrive right now. The first Hyrule Warriors and Definitive Edition, right? Like their rosters were they were pulling from everywhere, right? Everywhere in this series. Age of Calamity was really just pulling from Breath of the Wild, and that's it, right?
Yes.
So like, who in Breath of the Wild is left for them to bring in, right? Like, or are they just gonna go like for it, just gonna go all in and pull it whoever the heck they want? What if they put in Wolf Link as a character?
Yeah, I could see that because they had the boat in the original.
Yeah. See, that's a good point. If they can put a boat in Hyrule Warriors, why can't they give us a doggo in Age of Calamity? Suga, I could definitely see them putting in. In my chat here, so Silverhill says Robbie and Pura seem to be teased in the DLC trailer. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, they already have voice acting.
Suga and Astor probably would be guaranteed eventually. I could definitely see that as well. Yeah. Fantastic.
All right, so I have it set up. Do we want to officially begin?
Is that not? Have we not begun? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so but yes, Skyward Sword HD finally announced with 2 Joy-Cons that look completely different from each other.
Yes.
And
beautiful.
We don't know who's making it, but it doesn't seem like Nintendo is making it, which makes me think Tantalus is, because when they remade Wind Waker HD, it got a huge update. They even said they used the what became the Breath of the Wild engine, so like a beta version of that engine, I guess. And then Twilight Princess came later, made by Tantalus, but reused the Twilight Princess engine. I've been saying for a long time, I think Tantalus is remaking Twilight Princess, and it looks like with it using the same engine that it could be. And we didn't know Grezzo was making Link's Awakening until like around E3, I think. But you were right about the 10th anniversary.
Yes. It feels good.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to actually, like, I thought it would, but originally I was thinking it would come last year or the year before. I didn't think it was coming in 2021 because I thought Breath of the Wild 2 would be coming in 2021. And I was wrong, I guess. But it still could, who knows. But they said they had nothing to show, and if the game's going to release later this year and they have nothing to show, then that makes me think development isn't going as good as they made it seem.
Well,
but they could just be saving it for an actual Zelda Direct if they do have one. But yeah, what was your overall thoughts on Skyward Sword? We can kind of go over like the, I guess, 5 things each that we liked to organize it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're saving their Breath of the Wild 2 news, but Skyward Sword looks great. The game has got a neat visual style already, but a lot of that was bred out of necessity on the Wii. But I think now that it's on Switch and they can really polish it up here, it looks great. The Joy-Cons look fantastic. I'm seeing in the chat here people are already pre-ordering it. So
you should probably get on that and pre-order those Joy-Cons.
I should if the pre-orders go up. Right after this I'm gonna do it. But yeah,
they did the same thing with the original Skyward Sword
with the Wii remote. Yeah, except I'm glad it's not just gold. Like that's the thing, is they tend to, with Zelda stuff, they tend to just be like, it painted gold, done. The Zelda, they had like the Majora's Mask 3DS, it's gold, it's got the Majora's Mask on it, done. There was a DS, like an original DS for Zelda, it's gold, it's done, right, etc. You get the idea. But yeah, I always feel like I don't know. I'm glad that this have like a more that it's a nice blue and purpley sort of look, right? It's great. They look fantastic.
The Joy-Cons, and they're both like, it's not one just completely green and one completely gold or whatever. Like they actually have cool little designs on them as well.
Yeah, the designs look great. Let me see. I'm just gonna go back to it here.
And the interesting thing is, like, everyone, because of Aonuma's words saying that maybe it was Aonuma, someone at Nintendo kept on saying it would be impossible to have traditional controls for Skyward Sword because the whole game was based on it. And then even before they showed Skyward Sword, I was talking about on the stream how they could use traditional controls with the right stick, being able to swing your weapon which way. Because that, when I played on Dolphin, the emulator, I was using a special version that allowed you to do that, and that's how I was playing through the game.
Right.
And I was like, Nintendo could do this, but make it even easier or better, because they can actually get into the code of the game and customize it for the specific controller, where I'm just manipulating a swing by pressing right. And that is exactly what they did. And I'm calling it. I said they would do it. They did it. And I think that's one win. But you get your win.
The downside, though, for having the sword with the right stick is if you're playing that way, you can't use the right stick for the camera, which was already non-existent on the Wii version because there was no right stick on the Wii, but that's kind of too bad.
So they said it was optional for you to switch between the two? Or is it at all times both are?
It said optional button controls. So maybe if you're using motion controls, you can use the camera with the right stick. I still feel like that's going to be the best way to play it still, as with the motion. And
well, yeah, I mean,
gosh, okay, I guess I'm streaming Skyward Sword again when it comes out because I already streamed it. But the thing is, I was streaming Wii games, right? Like from my setup, I have to like actually move myself back from my desk to have room for the Wii remote and the sensor bar to talk to each other there, right? But the Joy-Cons don't really have that because there's no sensor bar needed for it. They don't have that limitation, we'll say. So, but yeah, I just they look so good. I like that one is themed after the sword and the other's themed after the shield. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, I like it, but for people like Geek, who said she would rather play with her left hand as the sword, the way Link traditionally is, it's still kind of bad for her, because if it was just as easy to like flip over Ocarina of Time's Master Quest and flip over Twilight Princess, you would imagine they could just flip over Skyward Sword.
That would be nice if they made that an option. The only thing is then like walking with the right stick would seem kind of weird. You know what I mean? But like the thing is, the Joy-Cons buttons, they match each other. They're completely mirrored, right? So I mean, I feel like it could be doable to have an option where you just flip which Joy-Cons do what. You know, like you just mirror the Joy-Cons, and then if you're lefty, you just can use the lefty. Like I totally will play it with motion controls, but I'm glad they're making button controls optional, because I know that was an obstacle for people.
Yeah.
But I still feel like either way, they should make it optional to flip them, or you know what? Actually, though, the Switch already has its own button mapping option, right?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
After you finish.
Oh, sorry. So so in theory.
No, it's good.
In theory, you could just map your buttons to be opposite if you wanted to, right? For your button controls, but then the right stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, accessibility is important. Like I think I would play it the original way, but if like I've always supported making those motion controls optional, because even though it wasn't an option for me, it was for other people, definitely. And the more people that can share the experience and joy of playing this game, the better, right? So yeah.
All right. So with Skyward Sword, you said
message Geek about this.
Yeah, you said that it was possible, and maybe you were just trying to not get yourself too excited, that this could just be all other Nintendo stuff and they're saving the Zelda stuff. And a lot of people thought that was what they were going to do. And what I was told, even after this Direct was announced, was that this is not the Zelda Direct that I was talking about, is what the person said to me. And it's like, maybe it'll still be on that day in a couple of days or in a few days or whatever. But they said this was not it. That it was specifically a Zelda thing. and it seems like they might do that, but they didn't mention it because when they showed the DLC for Age of Calamity, they didn't show the DLC for Age of Calamity.
They just said there was
they listed
DLC.
it.
Yeah. But none of the footage they even showed was actually new, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I still stand by that. I even said it before many times. I think there's going to be another Direct. They didn't say a date or anything like I was hoping they would, but I still feel like there's going to be a Zelda Direct for sure at some point this year.
Okay. So there is one big change to Skyward Sword that affected every single person who played it, and Nintendo is always fixing bugs and stuff, changing some things around. We mentioned during the live stream, they added lines to Ocarina of Time, so you could just follow the colored lines and know where to go. Although I think, as you mentioned in your video that you made recently on the Water Temple, you use... Wait, did you use Froor's Wind? Yeah.
Yeah, I used
I never used that item. So maybe if you do, maybe you are meant to use it, and that's how you get back and forth easier. But
it does make
it never
easier, yeah.
occurred to me to use it. But yeah, so they've always made changes. Majora's Mask, the changes they made to it, a lot of people didn't like because they changed the actual mechanics of the way they move with the Zora swimming, the Deku hops. They changed the bosses, some of the side quests. Twilight Princess removed some of the Tears of Light segments. Wind Waker shortened the Triforce quest. Do you think there's going to be anything they remove or change in this that they have not mentioned yet?
Well, I think Tetra in my chat here just said the item descriptions. That's got to be one. Because with Skyward Sword, that was something they got a lot of criticism over. And then when they were showing off Breath of the Wild in 2016, during their demos, they kept reiterating that wasn't going to be how it was in Breath of the Wild. They kept being like, they would pick up an item and see the description. They're like, it only shows this one time because it's the first time. After that, it won't show you again. And they were like so desperate to tell us that they had fixed that problem. So I feel like for this game they have to. They've got to have changed that. Instead of showing it every single time. Because that was such an annoyance in Skyward Sword. Like every time you pick up an item, it's like, I've gotten 50 of these amber relics already. Why do I have to read about it again? Just let me pick it up and be done with it. So definitely
that was the one thing I mentioned that plagued everyone who played it, because there's just no way to get around that.
Yeah.
I think fans modded a version that fixed it.
That's hilarious.
But, yeah.
That's great.
But anyways, are there any gameplay mechanics or story elements that you think will be shortened or removed? The only thing I could think of is maybe they make the Silent Realm a bit
I was thinking the
scary.
Silent Realms, maybe just having fewer Tears of Light that you need to collect in each one. Although I don't mind the Silent Realms all that much, but there is one thing actually, and that's the Thunder Dragon's Trials in the original version. To get all of there's at least two things that you need to get from there if you want to complete the game, and that's the Hylian Shield and a heart piece, right?
Yeah.
But in order to get those, you have to basically opt out of going to the next round and take the reward and quit, and then start over.
8 for the Hylian Shield?
Something like that. And it would be great if those rewards, you could even have it be less rupees for some of the different stages to lessen it. But I feel like those rewards should stack instead of having you quit the Thunder Dragon Trials to get the shield and then go back into it to get the heart piece again. You should be able to be they should just stack through one go, so you don't have to repeat that. Or just change one of the heart. Maybe just make the Hylian Shield the last one and take the heart piece out of there and put it somewhere else so that you don't have to repeat it.
Yeah. So I was thinking if they did something like the Bombchu Alley girl in Ocarina of Time, where she's like, do you want to play? Okay, this is what you can win. That way you would know to stop.
Right.
If you beat it instead of continuing.
Well, that's kind of what he does in it, right? Because he's like, okay, if you stop now, he'd collapse like this. He goes, if you stop now, you can get this prize. If not, if you want to keep going, then the next prize will be this. So you know when to stop.
I don't remember him doing that. Because I remember, I skipped the Hylian shield without knowing it was the Hylian shield.
Well, that's the thing is,
Maybe I'm just misremembering.
The first time I played, I skipped the Hylian shield too because I thought that they would stack, that I would still get it, but I wanted to keep going to see what else I could get, you know? But no, that wasn't the case. If you just so it's not communicated very well, but he does tell you what the rewards are as you're going through it. But I still feel like they could fix that. Even just put the Hylian shield at the end and take the heart piece out and put it somewhere else, and then you don't have to play through those trials twice, or make the rewards stack instead of you have to opt out of the one reward to get the next one. Pardon me, sorry.
Yeah. No, I imagine, for me, the Lineru Desert seemed a lot harder. Maybe that's just because you get there later on than the other areas. I wonder if they would make any changes to it. But they don't really make overworld changes. They just changed individual quests or enemies. And in Twilight Princess, they flipped the hero mode. Was it called hero mode in Twilight Princess?
Yeah, I think so.
HD?
Hero mode.
And then, so do you think, because we were talking earlier about flipping it, do you think that's how they could use the hero mode in this? Which in Japan, for everyone who doesn't know, it's called spicy mode.
Is it called spicy mode? That's so funny because Pikmin's hard mode is called spicy mode or ultra spicy mode. But okay, the thing is, Skyward Sword already had a hero mode, but it did not flip the map. But that would be cool if they did it, because like that's what they did for Ocarina of Time. Yeah, exactly, Master Quest.
Great minds.
So that would be cool if they did. And I just had a thought as well. Amiibo support.
What Amiibo.
I mean, it's I want a Loftwing Amiibo. It's so bad. But I feel like I'm worried that it's just going to be item drops. But okay, what would be amazing? Wolflink?
If they did the same thing. No, if they did the same thing. Yes.
They already have the programming for it from Breath of the Wild. Just put them in Skyward Sword.
But if they did the same thing for Skyward Sword, connecting to Breath of the Wild 2, as they did for Twilight Princess, connecting to Breath of the Wild, to where instead of Wolflink, you get a Loftwing. Because
and then depending like on how much progression or how many hearts you have, it might impact the Loftwing's stats in Breath of the Wild in some way.
Like I don't think it would be flying around attacking the goblins, but like if you wanted to fly over Hyrule, like that's something that I was saying for a long time that I wished would have been in the original.
Right.
Because flying over Skyloft is great.
Yeah.
But everything else is kind of covered by cloud, and you can't really get that amazing view that you imagine when they first tell you, yeah, you can ride a Loftwing, fly around. They're like, oh, you'll be able to see the mountains, the lake, everything, but it's like, no, you just the clouds.
It's clouds.
So if they did that in Breath of the Wild 2, similar, almost similar to the way you get through Zora's River in Twilight Princess, where you're flying on that one weird thing as Wolflink. That's more of like a quest thing you can't really explore. But there's no reason that Breath of the Wild 2 wouldn't allow you to explore. But maybe that's asking too much.
Yeah.
But if they did add something,
I feel like
that's what bad.
The thing is, like, that the bird, like, people would be like, oh, Loftwing would be too game breaking. But I feel like it just make it an end game thing, even.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
like more game breaking than a motorcycle.
Exactly. Like, as far as like exploring goes, if we already have a paraglider and Rivali's Gale, which has a cooldown, sure, but like there's basically nowhere we can't go already. So
and you can already warp.
And
they even warp that item that lets you pick where you want to warp.
Yeah. So I don't see how a Loftwing would be any more game breaking than that, right? Like, isn't that the whole point? Is that you can go anywhere, anyways? So that's the whole point of the game.
Yeah, and like if there's an area on the map that isn't discovered yet, then it can just be like, oh, the Loftwing's afraid to go in. He's kind of like Epona going into the castle.
Putting him into Breath of the Wild 2, if there's like, and I think they will, right? Like if you've got this underground dungeons or underground exploration stuff, you just can't bring your Loftwing down there. You can't go underground. You can't go into dungeons. There you go. What game breaking we already know this overworld that we're gonna explore.
Mm-hmm.
We're very familiar with it, right? So I don't see the problem. Maybe there's just some places it won't fly. Like he won't go into the desert, or he won't go over Death Mountain because he's like, it's too haunt as he's flapping.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe there could even be a height restriction towards like you can't reach the top of that, or like if depending on how high Hyrule Castle rises up,
Right.
and it's like, well, you can fly, but it can't get that high.
Wait. What if you have to unlock it like later in the game because that's the only way to get to Hyrule Castle. It rises up. You can't get to it until you unlock your big bird friend.
That would be interesting.
That would be so cool. I mean, it makes more sense than just them teleporting you up for some reason or something, right?
Yeah, but that's the exact same thing that I theorized when we didn't know that Va Meadow was a divine beast. Everyone thought it was like an island or something.
Yeah, because it's hard to see, like, from a
yeah,
distance,
I'm like,
right?
you're either going to need super duper long claw shots or like stack them, like tie them together or something and then use it, or get a loft wing. I didn't know there was going to be other characters like loft wings that would just fly. Yeah, what if it's not a loft wing? What if it's like you just ride Teba, I guess, since Rivali's dead.
Yeah, I mean, he's your bird friend now.
Yeah, and you do kind of ride him in Breath of the Wild, but it's not explorable. So the game mechanics there, but it's not explorable as that. But with other amiibo, do you see any getting?
I really want there to be more to it, but I just have a hunch it's going to be just item drops like Breath of the Wild has.
Yeah, like, but what specific amiibo do you think would be released, or do you think it would just be one or none?
I mean, they already have the Skyward Sword Link amiibo, like for the it's like the 30th anniversary edition amiibos, right?
Yeah,
that I've
got.
His
beginning of it.
But that I've got still in the box behind me there. But I feel like they'll do a new, like with Link's Awakening, they had a Link's Awakening Link amiibo, right? Like just for that game, right? So I feel like it's lame because we have so many Links, but I feel like they're gonna just have a Skyward Sword Link amiibo.
Yeah.
Maybe
I just laughed because I thought a Groose amiibo.
Maybe a Zelda. Groose would be great, but probably not. But maybe Zelda, maybe Impa.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really want is Loftwing. Would be a really cool amiibo to have. Like if Samus Returns can give us a Metroid amiibo that's actually squishy, why can't I get a bird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the amiibo look almost identical to the more expensive actual statues they have.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the Loftwing statue. Like Miss Click has one. And I think Mossy's from Zelda Dungeon has one.
Yeah,
they're like $500. So
I'm not gonna spend that. I'll spend a lot of money on amiibos, but those are like $15, not like $500.
You can have you can buy like 50 amiibo.
Yeah, exactly. I can buy a lot of amiibos for that price.
So yeah, with you just see item drops and stuff. You don't see
realistically, I really think it's gonna be item drops because they don't want to do anything that's gonna
special dungeon.
The game originally wasn't built around it, right? But if they did a special dungeon like they did for Twilight Princess, sweet. I'm so down. That would be really cool.
Yeah. I would hope it's not a gauntlet style dungeon. Like and it's more traditional style.
That was the thing. The Cave of Shadows, is that what it was called?
Yeah, it was the same as the other cave.
Yeah, it was just the Cave of Ordeals again, but you're a Wolf Link. And it was fine because it was just bonus stuff, right?
Yeah.
But still, I kind of wish there was more to it, like a more proper dungeon. So if they want to do, the thing is, like, you look at with Link's Awakening DX, they added the color dungeon, which is one of the not the largest, but one of the largest dungeons in that game, right?
Didn't they add a dungeon to A Link to the Past as well?
Yeah.
Game Boy Advance?
They added the Palace of the Four Swords to A Link to the Past. For the Game Boy Advance version, right? And then, like, those are some proper proper dungeons, you know, with some cool challenge. And I'm fine with like boss rushes and stuff like that, but like the gauntlet style, like Wolf-Link's fighting wasn't fantastic. I would much rather do any combat as Link in his human form anyways, right? But yeah, it's good. Anyways, the game is already solid, so even I just have a feeling they're probably not going to add much to it content wise, but that's maybe I'm just being pessimistic because they haven't been doing as much stuff like that lately, historically. So
yeah, and I think Skyward Sword doesn't really have anything that it needs removed, so time spent removing something could potentially otherwise be spent adding stuff, because it's just the Silent Realm was what seemed like it was the hardest for everyone.
Right.
But it was kind of meant to be hard.
Ooh.
It's not like it was long, it's just getting caught.
You know what you could do, even like an amiibo functionality, is like you see this in like Mario Odyssey, for example, the Peach amiibo, it would give you a heart to refill your health instantly, right? Pretty simple, straightforward thing. But during some of the levels, I swear the only way I could get through it was having that Peach amiibo handy at all times, right?
Yeah.
Because especially like some of the very end game levels, they're pretty brutal. So what if you have, as just one of the amiibo drops, if you're in the Silent Realm, it drops like one of those items, like the little fruits that freeze the guardians in place.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're in a pinch, just scan the amiibo, bloop. Even if it has a cooldown or you can only use it like once per day, but you're just in a pinch, there you go. Alleviate some of that stress.
So. And with Twilight Princess, the Ganondorf amiibo doubled the damage you had.
Yeah,
so
if they do that,
a Demise amiibo.
Demise amiibo would be super cool. To give it like an extra hard mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything they could do for like switching to Midna they made easier? Just a tap of a button on the Wii U. Is there anything equivalent to that they could do? The only thing I could think of is like if you towards the end of the game you have to travel back and forth through time quite a bit. But that seems like something that should still stick to the Gate of Time.
I'm just thinking about the controllers. Maybe they showed this in the trailer, okay? But the Joy-Cons have more buttons than the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, obviously, right? So what if, you know, instead of when you have to change your weapons, instead of having the pointer option where you point at the screen and then like select the weapon, if you just like have a shortcut to like scroll with the directional buttons through your weapons, through your inventories. So like you press left to just and you just scroll through your items.
Would those buttons not be used for what?
Like what?
Switching items?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like just switching items through those.
No, not switching. I mean the equipped items you have, because you to like left, right, and down.
That's a good point. Like you could. The thing is, Skyward Sword, you could only equip one item at a time, right?
Oh, okay.
So, but you could switch items very quickly. So yeah, maybe they have it so that X and Y you have.
But then
equipping.
It could use the other buttons for switching the weapon.
That's true, because now you got A, B, X, Y. So X and Y did not exist on the Wii, right? You've got two shoulder buttons that were not there on the Wii, plus your 4 directional buttons. There's so many more buttons, and they could just make little tiny tweaks to like your item or inventory management. Like your pouch, right, was with minus, where you have like your shields, so you could map maybe some of those to some of those buttons there, like your shields, your bottles in your adventure pouch, and then your inventory you map them to like X and Y. Just again, I'm just spitballing here, but like that way, just as far as being able to quickly and conveniently access those things goes, I wonder if they showed anything like
even
that.
Switching between the like the different things that you would search with the sword, the dowsing thing.
Right. Oh. Okay, if they get rid of dowsing, then that would be fine. I'm just looking at the trailer again, and actually the right directional
like if
button,
they got rid of 5,
like
Skyward Sword would be okay.
If there's the right directional button or the right D-pad, it has a prompt for help, which, if I recall correctly, was the number 2 button on the Wii remote, and it would just tell you the controls.
One was the map.
One was a map. One was help. So I mean, yeah, you could have like up on the D-pad be your map, even, or something like that. I'm curious to see, but yeah, from what I'm seeing here, actually, hang on, I just was going through the trailer again here. It looks like ZR, or ZR for my American friends, is for your items, where it was B on the Wii remote, if I recall correctly, and R, so your right bumper, is for your pouch. So it looks like they probably didn't change.
Pouch is the like game items, not weapons.
Pouch would be like your where your shield and your bottles, and medals and things like that are.
Yeah, so the items that were not weapons. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I almost feel like if you just have those 2 buttons dedicated to that, like you've got so many more buttons to work with. Like it's a waste.
Does it say what L is? Like if L or ZL is targeting, then L would be
maybe for your shield when you're like punching your shield when you're in handheld, or the thing is, I guess like they probably have not very many buttons for doing motion control. Oh, but hold on, there's a different screenshot. They have a different item for B on B. So like I'm just going through the trailer. There's one shot where it shows ZR for items and he's using the slingshot. And then there's another part where they're using the bow and it's with B. So, and then ZR again with bombs later. So I'm guessing you can have multiple items equipped then, not just one, which is great.
And then instead of just pressing the one button, you can choose which button to press.
Yeah. So if they do it that way, you know, that's good with me. But I was just thinking they might be minimizing how many buttons they're using. I really hope though, even if they have option where your one setup you can do your detached Joy-Cons for your full motion control experience, all motion control 100%, and then they have your completely no motion controls, just buttons option, right, with where you use the right stick. I would really like to see also a middle ground where you have no motion control for your sword and shield, but still gyro aiming like in Breath of the Wild for things like your bow and stuff like that. I feel like if like even just make it optional, just give me options of what to use motion for and what not to. I feel like that will be the best as far as accessibility and making this more.
And they've done the gyro thing for like almost every Zelda game since the 3DS.
Yeah, and like Twilight Princess HD, I always use this as my example of best control customization options for a Zelda game, because they gave you the option, do you want first or third person aiming? Do you want motion control aiming on or off? Do you want your inverted axes on or off? And they let you customize and cherry pick which options you want. And I feel like if they do that for Skyward Sword HD, it'll benefit the game in a big way, because what I feel may be my personal optimal playstyle may not be the same as yours or someone else's, right? So, and I love gyro aiming so much. So I don't really like pointer control aiming that much, because I find my wrist gets stiff because I'm always holding things straight outwards like that. But gyro aiming is really natural. And great. So, yeah.
Do you think, so we've talked about the controls and changes they could make, but we haven't really talked about the graphics, which there's not much difference. Like the textures might be updated, but it looks the same as it would running on an emulator, except on an emulator, for some reason I mentioned earlier, it has like a halo glow effect around it, like the lights kind of reflecting off of Link, where it doesn't run as perfectly. But this looks kind of like what they did with Twilight Princess HD, which reminds me of, which is why I said that I thought I was right in saying that it was Tantalus, because Nintendo would have, I feel like they would have done a bit more for the graphics, like with Wind Waker.
Yeah, so it looks to me like they did more with Skyward Sword and Wind Waker. Well, okay. yes and no. So Skyward Sword, no, I gotta back my brain up here. I'm sorry. Again, my brain is on overdrive here. With Wind Waker, they did not do much in the way of updates for their textures or polygon counts or anything like that. But they did up-res everything and gave this nice bloom look to everything, right?
Yeah.
Which was a big impact on the visuals.
They changed the
feel like they
lighting
did
a lot.
Yeah, the lighting was the biggest change. But the textures and polygons are, I think, pretty much the same as the GameCube version.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because the GameCube version, honestly, even the GameCube version looks
And
really good of Wind Waker. I really like it.
When the grass is like usually just like a green, solid green color, there's not much you can do to really
Exactly. Skyward Sword HD, they toned down the lighting a bit. It's not quite as bloomy as the original original Twilight Princess is, but they actually did a lot of work with the textures. There's no additional polygons, but almost all the textures in that game in Skyward Sword HD are new textures. But because of it's very true to the art style, but a lot more detailed. But people, of course, we all remember these games with nostalgia goggles, so people are like, it looks the same. But actually, if you like do side by sides, all the textures in Skyward Sword, or I keep saying Skyward Sword, in Twilight Princess HD look way better, and look really great. So I feel like on the texture side of things, they did a lot more for Twilight Princess HD. But because of that difference in lighting, the impact isn't as noticeable. Here, it doesn't look to me like any of the textures are really different. But maybe they are, and I just haven't noticed from these little bits of the trailer that we've seen. But definitely it looks like it's rezzed up a little bit, and it looks like, just from watching the trailer, it looks like the frame rate is improved quite a bit as well. Just it looks like it might be running at 60 frames.
Yeah. It's possible. On the Wii U, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker ran at 30 at 1080p. So if they could do that on the Wii U, I imagine Skyward Sword would easily be able to run at 60 on the Switch. And I think I imagine the the distance that you can see before things start disappearing.
The draw distance,
would be a bit better.
I imagine
because they said the whole reason they went with that art style to begin with was because it was the best looking that they could think of to compete against the HD games that had more power to allow things to be displayed further out. So instead of having something completely disappear, like in a lot of the games, like we made fun of like Grand Theft Auto, when you're in LA and like you go like a few blocks down, you can't see everything's like all foggy and cloudy, and that's usually what it does. But in Skyward Sword, instead of important things just disappearing and vanishing, because you have to see things from really, really far away when you're flying towards them, so they came up with this painting art style so that things would blend into the background as if the background was like a painted picture instead of something just disappearing. So like the texture or the model for it technically does disappear, but the image blends into the background.
And because it was SD instead of HD, like especially on our old TVs, you couldn't really tell the difference.
And because the Nintendo Wii itself just didn't have enough RAM to keep everything on screen when you're flying through the air like that.
Yeah, but I assume the draw distance will be improved. Because, I mean, like, think about how much the draw distance in Breath of the Wild looks good. I mean, they even use that sort of idea where they swap out, like, your trees for, like, two-dimensional trees when you're too far away. But, I mean, even then, like, Breath of the Wild looks, its style, its visuals are way, by and large, like, above, superior to Skyward Swords, as they should be. But like with the hardware for the Switch, like there's no reason this 10-year-old game can't have improved draw distance.
Especially since 10 years ago it wasn't even on like the HD consoles at the time, which were more powerful. But they kind of did something a little bit similar with Wind Waker, to where they said because of the Wii U they were able to render out a larger distance to let you sail faster. So whether that's true or not.
So do you think we're going to get not like the Swift Sail, but maybe the ability for the Loftwing to go faster or boost more, like?
Yeah, I definitely think they would be able to go faster, but I was just meaning in terms of like being able to see things better from a further distance without it disappearing. Kind of be like in Wind Waker, because they said that you couldn't sail that fast because the ground would disappear because you'd be faster than it could render. I don't know if that's true, because some people who've like experimented and modded with the original game says that's not true, that you can speed up the boat and you won't fall off. But that's the excuse that Nintendo used.
The thing is, though, people who are modding it like that, are they running the game on like a PC while they're modding it, or on a GameCube? Because like maybe on your PC, if you're modding it on Dolphin or whatever, you know, it's probably going to be different than what the GameCube.
It makes up for the extra speed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a modder, so I don't know. This is a question for our friend Melon, but
but yeah, Skyward Sword. I didn't even think about the Loftwing going faster, but that could totally be something, because they did give you the things to make it go faster. Oh, does that mean with traditional controls you're going to be able to control it normally?
Oh,
to fly around?
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, definitely. You'd have to be able to.
That would make the ceremony a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that part is weirdly hard for the tutorial of the game.
And you can't use arrows on Loftwing, can you?
No, you can't use
that
any
would make
items.
That would make the one boss battle a lot easier.
So, can you imagine if they add that?
Because that was something that they kept on saying that they would have loved to have done in Ocarina of Time, but wasn't able to until better hardware in Twilight Princess.
With the sword, you mean?
So, yeah. So with Skyward Sword, I almost said Breath of the Wild. With Skyward Sword, it would be... Would there be many uses for it, though? To use an arrow? Like, they could add it easily, but...
Yeah, I mean, there's, like, Octo Rocks and things like that around the sky and stuff like that. But aside from that, there's that one boss. That's the only one I can... The one where you fight with Levias. That's the only one I can think of that would need arrows. Even still, though, it'd just be cool to have. So...
Yeah, and clearly Nintendo did think that you needed to go faster in Skyward Sword, because it put those warp tunnels that you could go through and it would like shoot you out.
That's true.
So even Nintendo themselves was like, we need them to fly a little bit faster.
What if you could use your claw shots off the Loftwing?
For what though?
Well, because there's some of the floating islands
that
have like that, you know, where you'd find like the treasure chests, the goddess cube ones, right? And they use claw shot targets and stuff like that. And normally what you do is you just jump off and land somewhere on the island and then claw shot over.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you can aim your landing properly. But if you could just claw shot right off the back of your Loftwing, that could be very cool. Assuming you can get the Loftwing to be stationary enough for you to aim.
The way Breath of the Wild renders the entire world, or it tries to render the entire world without loading, if they could render like Skyloft as it does with the other smaller items.
Yes.
That way, when you dive into Skyloft, it doesn't have to load. You can just fall into it.
Yes. Okay.
Like when you're gliding in Breath of the Wild.
Yes. Make that one map where you have the sky and Skyloft and all those items. Just make it one loading zone, one map. They probably won't.
It would be like, you're telling me you can do all of this in Breath of the Wild and render like huge portions of Hyrule, like the entire Great Plateau and surrounding areas, but you can't render this medium-sized rock in the sky?
They probably won't, because it'll be too much change from the original, but like that's something I would love, because there's so many times where you jump, you try to land in a specific spot on Skyloft, but because of the way the loading zones are, it fades out. It loads for a minute, and then you're dropped in one of the 5 generic landing zones. And it's like, I'm like, I know, I was trying to jump as close to that door as I could, you know?
Yeah. Right, so we've been going on about 40-something minutes about Skyward Sword. Is there any final thing you want to mention?
Okay, so there's really, aside from Skyward Sword, there's, of course, the Age of Calamity DLC. It's nice that they're giving us some bonus stuff as well. That looks great. I'm not sure what characters we'll get, but there'll be new characters. Sounds cool. I don't think we mentioned it before you started recording, but the Animal Crossing update looks great.
Oh yeah, all the Mario stuff.
With the Mario stuff, I'm very excited, and it makes me really hopeful there'll be Zelda stuff in the future. But like even the warp pipe, like actually functioning, a functional warp pipe on your island is so cool. That's such a cool idea. To like just like if there's one place that's like your islands are not that big, they're not that you can walk across it in like a minute, but still that's gotta be that's cool. Like that is a functional warp pipe. You can put one on each end of your island in theory, right?
Wait, so do you get to put them wherever you want? Like the other items in the game? Because you have it in your house?
That I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it looks great. It looks great. Not just the costumes, but just like being able to put those items around. That's super cool. So pumped for that. And that's soon, February 25th. That's like what? That's like a week from now.
Yeah. So, the only thing that I didn't I didn't know they were coming, but the things that I was told to expect was not Zelda Joy-Cons, but Zelda-themed Switch stuff, which I guess was the Joy-Cons.
Right.
But they also mentioned Zelda Animal Crossing stuff. But they did not mention Mario Animal Crossing stuff. But we were also expecting a bunch of other Zelda stuff in a possible future direct. Right. So maybe it could be for that. Maybe. And they didn't want to spend too much time showing this, like Zelda and Mario stuff.
True. I just had a thought though.
Wait till this comes out and then show the other.
So I had posted about this on Twitter earlier today, right? Because someone was saying they were hoping for Mario Golf, which actually was announced, and they were like, the main reason I'm hoping for Mario Golf is because the HD grass, and there's a screenshot that the grass from Mario Tennis on the Switch looks super good, like unnaturally good, right next to like with Mario in his Mario proportions standing on this really HD grass. It looks so weird.
It's like that GameCube basketball game that had Mario characters with NBA players, and it's like you got realistic for the time NBA player, like humans, and then you got whatever Mario is.
So, but it's almost too bad to see like I mean, it's good and bad because the grass in Mario Golf and stuff here, like the environments, they look more like in line with Mario, the universe of Mario. But it would have been neat to see like a golf course with that HD, really sharp looking grass here. Like it looks fine. It looks good still. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it looks more like a texture than like proper real grass. I don't know. But I'm actually looking at it here. Maybe that's just on there's actually some like proper bladed grass too in the trailer. So, I don't know. But it looks more in line with Mario's visuals in general. You know.
Smash Bros got Xenoblade. Neither of us was really too excited about it. Technically 2 characters, but could be like
it's like an Echo fighter or an alt skin like Hero had maybe.
Yeah. And then originally I thought, because there was a bunch of people that wanted Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, but for the Switch. So I thought maybe that could have been it. I should have known it wasn't, because it wasn't even the same characters.
Right.
But in my head I was like, well, it can't really be DLC this far out. So I don't know. But so I kind of thought it was that, which made me think, if that's what one team from Monolith Soft was working on, then would we have gotten to see the other, whatever Zelda project the other Monolith Soft team could be working on? But what do you, since we know most likely it was Tantalus who made Skyward Sword, I'm still going with that. Just like we all thought Link's Awakening was made by Grezzo until it was confirmed to be. But with Monolith Soft, do you think they are helping with Breath of the Wild too, as they used to do, or do you think they're doing their own project?
Probably a bit of both, you know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they have their own their own Zelda team there, don't they? So they could be assisting Breath of the Wild and then doing their own thing as well. But yeah, I mean, I've never played any of the Xenoblade games or anything, so I don't have much to say about it other than I think I can tell right now just looking at Pyra and what's her name, Mirtha or whatever the other one's name is.
It was one of the first games Nintendo sent to review on the Switch, but I didn't love it. So
yeah, so Pyra and Mithra, just looking at their designs, I know there's going to be two things about that people are going to complain about. Well, one is going to be there's going to be a lot of thirsty guys, thirsty boys. But the second thing, they're going to be people complaining, oh, another anime sword fighter.
People were already complaining about that yesterday.
Yeah, and it's like, get over yourselves, first of all.
Even for all the people, like the millions of people that had Sora for Smash trending yesterday, like as soon as the direct was announced, for every one of those, there was someone commenting or replying, being like, but we don't need another anime sword character. And it's like, wow.
But Xenoblade is like, even Shulk, who I hate, by the way, in Smash, at least. I hate Shulk so much.
Yeah.
But
because he always beats you.
No, okay. Shulk's the window of timing for his counterattack is absurdly broken. Every other character with a counter, you have to time that shit like, oops, sorry, but you got to time it like really precisely. And Shulk, it's like a big window for some reason, and it's redonks. It's broken. But I digress. Even he, as a anime sword character, as it were, quote unquote, plays very differently from like any of the Fire Emblem characters. All of the Fire Emblem characters, a lot of them play fairly similar, but they're very different from Link, for example. Things like that. So it's like, honestly, I'm not worried about diversity with these characters because I know Sakurai's a smart guy and he knows what he's doing designing these characters. If they weren't going to be fun to play, he wouldn't put them in the game.
Right.
He's a genius man. So
he literally has every game developer asking.
Yeah.
So it's like he literally has his choice of what he wants.
I know people were like expecting like Master Chief and stuff like that. I saw Twitter posts with things like that. But I'm like, first of all, give the man a break. He's already pulled Steve and Sephiroth and all these like huge third-party characters, into the
even
game.
Square, who they had a falling out with a long time ago.
Yeah. So I mean, like, Xenoblade's pretty big. I'm not surprised to get a Xenoblade character in the game as well. So yeah, I'm not surprised. They look good. I probably will try them out. I don't think they'll make it into my mains group here. I felt like even Sephiroth was a little slow for my taste, but yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people had I think a lot of people expecting like some rare games to come on, especially like stuff like Donkey Kong Country, since it's the 40th anniversary of it as well. Right. Some people were expecting something about Metroid. Some people were expecting more Zelda. Some people were expecting no Zelda, but then ending with tune in on this day for more Zelda stuff or whatever. So was there anything that you were looking forward to or expecting? Not like the dream wishes, but
there was not a trace of Metroid in this direct. I wanted some Metroid. I honestly I didn't think they would.
Samus Returns would be there.
I didn't think they would do anything, but there was a shred of hope in my heart that I just really wanted to see something, and it was either going to be like, in my head, I was hoping for either Samus Returns, only like they would have to really clean it up to make it good looking on Switch, because it's great, but kind of an ugly game. Do you remember who made it? That company, I can't remember the name of the company. They had a really weird name, but I remember that we predicted it a long time ago in one of our videos.
That company
was working on Metroid, and then it was like probably like a year went by, and then they announced it, and we're like, oh, we forgot about that. It was like one of our very earliest videos together.
They had an original game that was canceled.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I can't remember what their name.
Yeah, I thought we would get something 2D Metroid. I really thought we would.
I didn't think maybe like a shred or like a tiny half a minute teaser for Prime 4 or like a Prime Trilogy thing. Either of those honestly would have been fantastic, but I knew it was a long shot. So, you gotta temper your expectations. I'm not gonna rage about it, but but it's still a little sad to see, or to not see, I should say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I expected Breath of the Wild 2, but I do not believe Aonuma's statement that the game's not ready to be shown off. I just think they don't want to show it off yet.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's more of a case of like, we're going to show you when the time's right, not we're not ready to show you. So
a lot of people have been thinking that like Switch is going to be entering its 5 years or 5th year soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about the normal time that Nintendo or even other companies would move on to another console.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people thinking Breath of the Wild 2 would be launched with whatever the Switch 2 or Switch Pro would be.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think there's anything to that? And that like they just don't want to show it off because people would see it and be like, well, this is clearly not running on a Switch.
I don't know, because I think it will be running on Switch, to be honest. I think the Switch has life left in it. Quite a bit of
like when they showed off the first Breath of the Wild,
right.
It was always for the Wii U version.
Yeah, they were so well. That's true. They were very adamant that this is the new Zelda game for Wii U, and part of me feels like part of that was a ditch effort to like use as they could, before the Switch rolled out. But like the thing is that he said, "Oh, we're not showing off any Breath of the Wild 2 today, but there's information planned for later this year," is what he said, right? So like they've got something to show us. Yeah, they did say that. So I'm looking at the screen right now where he said that. So like they've got something. They're just sitting on it. They're making us wait, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I feel.
Maybe never mind. I don't want to say anything to get anyone bugging anyone, but yeah, I think it would be cool if that was a possible tease that like, hey, there's a Zelda, like we'll give you more Breath of the Wild 2 information coming later this year.
Mm-hmm.
If that was like a little tease, even though they didn't say it like a full Zelda direct. Because when they do show off Breath of the Wild 2, even if they don't have a bigger anniversary direct, I think it would be by itself.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Like they've done a lot of those like random independent trailer drops anyways, so
what were you doing with your eyebrows?
What?
I thought you were about to say, well, actually on Twitter they just
posted something. No, that would be cool. No, I was just goofing off. But yeah. On Twitter they do sort of do those random drops of trailers and stuff. So but yeah, I think it's because they said more information planned for later this year, and this is what I was saying before we started watching the direct as well. I really think they're gonna have another direct later this year that's gonna be Zelda focused. They're probably gonna wait. I think they're gonna wait till like end of summer, maybe September. Is that bad of me to say? Like, I know that's longer than I want, but I think that's when we're gonna get a big Zelda outpouring.
They made sure to separate any of the Zelda stuff that's coming from any of the Mario releases.
Exactly. And the Mario stuff is still going on till the end of March. But, you know, you don't want to like come right hot off the heels of that because everyone's still going to be broke.
What if they would have said Skyward Sword available until August or something?
As a limited release?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd cry. I'd actually cry.
It wasn't part of a collection like a lot of people thought it would. I didn't think it was going to be part of a collection because I said there's enough people talking about it that they could sell it for $60, like full price on its own. Which it may not be full price because the remakes are usually $50. And then the $60 version usually comes with like a prepackaged amiibo or something.
Yeah, I was just going to say like they could pack an amiibo with it like they did for Twilight Princess. you read my mind. But
and then so since we know something Breath of the Wild 2 is coming, if you had to guess or speculate what Zelda announces, not releases, but just announcements, would also be coming this year. Since we know what they said in this direct, what do you think would be coming if they did have a more Zelda announcements, whether they're on their own or part of something else?
Because I really think I don't think the game's going to come out this year, but I do think they're going to show us at least like more info, more trailers for it. And I think they're going to give us a release date by the end of the year. and probably looking at it releasing next year, maybe Q1 next year. But people are going to hate me for saying that. They're going to be like, "No, I want it now."
They said 2020.
They've held up their cards close to their chest for a lot of their stuff lately, right? So until it's like close to release date, and that seems to be working for them. Other than that, I think we're gonna get a big Zelda 35 thing, and I think the reason they didn't include Skyward Sword in that is because they wanted to hit Skyward Sword's 10th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
But
that could stand up on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's a big date for Skyward Sword. But then, even though Skyward Sword originally came out in November, I think it was, but in 2011. But
do you see any other Zelda releases?
I think,
or announcements?
Other than Age of Calamity DLC, we're going to definitely get more info on that. Of course, that's going to come out this year throughout the year. I think I could see even if it's just like a limited release, like they did with like Four Swords Anniversary, that was just like a short limited release. I could see them rolling something out like that as well, even if it's like a digital only
online,
for Switch Online, or like things like that. I think how they had Super Mario Bros 35, where it was like Tetris 99 but Mario. I think it'd be really cool to see a Zelda 35 like that. It's not like a full proper Zelda game, but just like neat little things as Zelda celebration sort of things, that would be really cool. Yeah. What about you?
You don't see any other remakes or anything?
I figured there was something I had in mind, but I thought you were gonna say it, so I was gonna.
No, I'm asking you for all of yours.
Okay. I think a double pack of like the 3DS remakes would be really cool.
Okay.
Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask double pack.
3 different collection packs they could go with if they just did 2.
That's
true.
There's
the GameCube games, or the Wii U remakes, the N64 or 3DS, and then the Oracle.
That's true. They could. There's a lot of ways they could go with it.
But yeah, with that Unity thing. Oh, sorry. I'll let you finish first.
Oh no. Go.
I'm getting ahead of myself. No, you. You.
There's just so much they could do. So like, even like a Four Swords trilogy would be neat.
Did I kill Daniel?
You did not. A Four Swords trilogy would be really cool. Official, actually Tetra in the chat here. A full. Oh. Hello. Yeah, I lost.
There's 2 of me.
Okay.
I was like, did I kill Daniel?
I could see a Four Swords trilogy. Tetra in the chat was just saying a Pro controller. That would be cool. I would, because they now have the Joy-Con, so I wouldn't mind seeing a Zelda Pro controller. That's as nice as those Joy-Cons, but different design from those Joy-Cons maybe. But yeah, a Four Swords trilogy might be cool. You have your Minish Cap, Four Swords Adventures, and give them online.
Oh yeah, that is right.
Online multiplayer, like full proper online multiplayer. Like honestly, the online multiplayer they have in not Bowser's Fury, but Super Mario 3D World, perfect. Put that in everything. It works really well. Yeah. It's great. So yeah, any of those multiplayer Zelda games, even if they're just limited time release sort of things, just roll them out. Like a limited time release of Four Swords or Four Swords Adventure would be really cool. They've got that sort of competitive, but like still fun Zelda feel to them, right? So.
And used to, I thought Nintendo and Capcom had some sort of weird licensing or ownership issue with like Minish Cap and stuff, because they hadn't really done anything with Minish Cap, but they had Four Swords done by Grezzo for the anniversary edition. So if they did have anything with Capcom, they already fixed that or came to an agreement once before. So I don't see it being a problem. But I used to think, well, the reason they haven't like redone Minish Cap or the Oracle games is because Capcom, but that seemingly isn't really a problem. But yeah, I think that would be great, especially if they have plans big enough to completely change and update their entire online.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Why I said Four Swords, because they're changing that online system, right? So obviously they've got some plans for online games, right? And other than just Mario 3D World. Maybe that's why Mario 3D World works so well, but or have they not updated it yet? Are they just going to?
No,
or?
I think it's next month in March.
It's next month. Okay.
And
either way, though.
I was thinking if they wait until after to announce the Zelda stuff, because during the Direct, I mentioned that it was weird Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity didn't have online multiplayer, even though every other single Dynasty Warriors game and spin-off, other than the ones on Nintendo, are online. And maybe it's just because, like, in examples like Pokemon, there's like a 1 second lag between you and your friend playing. Some games work really well, but maybe they were like prioritized, or they went in to customize it to make it work better.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of why they're ready to announce Splatoon 3 coming next year as well.
Oh yeah.
With that big change to their online systems for multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Splatoon is definitely a game that would benefit from that.
Yeah. And I was thinking how there's a bunch of interviews all in a row where Alan Numa was like, I want to mix the online multiplayer of Triforce Heroes with the engine of Breath of the Wild, which is almost what we got with Age of Calamity, but even still, it wasn't online multiplayer. And then with Zelda Wii U, like the first thing he said about it was, don't think of this as a single player experience. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Because the game is 100% a single player experience.
It is definitely.
Maybe that was it. Maybe it was like, we can't have such a huge world with so much going on and have it online as well.
Despite the fact that would be awesome.
Yeah, so maybe that's why, like, he kept on saying, hey, I want to do this, and then he finally goes to whoever's running Nintendo and is like, hey, I really want to do this. I've been saying I want to do it for 10 years.
Right. And
I want to make a traditional Zelda game with online multiplayer. Make it happen.
Too bad. None for you.
And then they're finally updating it this year. So that could be it. They have a lot of people think Resident Evil 8, the way Resident Evil 7 came to Switch, but you could only stream it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't natively run the game. Kind of like what the Xbox Series S does, the cheaper version of the new Xbox. It streams all of its games. And then even Google has their weird thing that lets you stream games.
Stadia, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Switch only has like 1 or 2 games that do it. So a lot of people thought 8 was going to be announced and streamed for Switch. But it's only in Japan. So maybe... or 7 is only streamable in Japan. So maybe once Switch updates the online thing, it'll be easier or better for consoles or for the Switch to stream certain games. Like if there's a new game that's announced that's only on like PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, then they're like, well, you can stream it and it'll look better than it would run on Switch anyways. So maybe if you had a really good internet connection, if they did update their online services, like if it's good enough for Xbox or Microsoft to base an entire console around streaming the games only, then if Nintendo updates their service, maybe they could do that as well. And then Nintendo is just like, we don't need to launch another Switch because you can just stream the games and make them look better.
I don't want that. So.
I wouldn't either, but again, like Xbox literally put out an entire console that does just that.
That's true. And PlayStation's is digital, where they have a digital only version at least. But I mean, at least making it optional is fine by me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be shoehorned into it. I still have a lot of I still am big into physical media in that sense.
Yeah.
So.
But with the online thing, updating it for Zelda. Like I mentioned, Age of Calamity getting a upgrade to online. I think a new multiplayer Zelda game would come. I don't know if that would be something new, because like even Triforce Heroes, they said it began as them trying to do Four Swords for the 3DS.
Right.
And then it just turned into Triforce Heroes. And even that, maybe that was because 4 people is kind of laggy, but 3 works okay enough.
Maybe, yeah. So they just...
And then because it was really weird why it didn't have 4, and there had to be some reason for them to change it.
Yeah.
Because they had 2 4-player games before, so why make this one?
Yeah.
And then, but anyways, so if they did like a second version of Triforce Heroes, which a lot of people don't realize, brought in a lot of the brand new features that Breath of the Wild has, like all of the outfits and masks giving different abilities and stuff. Yeah, so
could be cool.
Yeah, whether it's Triforce Heroes or Four Swords, like you mentioned, or a brand new game, that would be really cool. Because we all had a lot of fun when we streamed Four Swords Adventures online.
Yeah.
For the game.
And like the reason I never finished that game on my own is because it's not as fun on your own. It's definitely made it's way more fun multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have that weird issue with all their online games already having no voice chat. So maybe this could fix that as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, there would be enough stuff that they could fix or announce just by updating their online thing. They could have another direct entirely based around them updating. Like, we're updating our online service. These are new features that your old games are going to get free. So big multiplayer games that weren't online before now could be. Because I always think of that interview where the president said that they're going to put a big focus on online multiplayer in their online service, but they haven't. So it's like, maybe this is why.
Maybe it's just PR speak, though.
Yeah.
So...
but with Grizzo, what do you think Grizzo is doing? Because that was a big thing.
Remains to be, unless they worked on Skyward Sword.
I don't. They could have, but I don't think they did.
I don't think so, but they could have.
That would make it would. The timing would be right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I could see the 3DS remakes that they've already done being worked on to bring it up to snuff to run on Switch, or not that it has a lot of trouble running a 3DS games to the Switch, but like you have to change things like the dual screen and stuff like that, right? And I feel like you'll have to bring the graphics, you'll have to raise the graphics level up to match the Switch's hardware to match what the Switch is capable of. So I could see that they might be working on something like that, but maybe that's wishful thinking. So yeah, I don't know.
On the bright side, there was no what people were anticipating really lazy collection of Zelda games, to where it's like, here's the N64 versions of Ocarina and Majora's Mask, even though we have the same studio who made the 3D remakes working on Switch games, and they've already ported a bunch of 3DS games to Switch, instead of having them do that, which they've already done before with other games. We're going to give you the 64 versions.
Tetra, thanks for throwing a cheer there. Thanks for coming by. Yes. Enjoy your dinner.
All right. Do you have any final things, I guess, to wrap this up?
Other than that, I'm very excited for Skyward Sword, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, like all of these. Not all of these, but there were a few announcements here that were pretty great. But I'm more excited for the fact that they've confirmed they're going to be giving us more info on Breath of the Wild 2 later this year. So that's probably the most exciting part for me.
Yeah. So to end, when do you think that info is going to come? I think it'd be
thanks Marsupial, another little cheer there. I want to say end of summer. I want it to be sooner, but I think end of summer, maybe September or late August or something like that, is when we're gonna get a bunch of stuff. They're just gonna roll out a bunch of stuff.
Do you think they're gonna have their replacement for an E3 Direct? Did they last year?
They did not last year, even though I thought they would. Maybe. It depends on what ESA is doing, I think. Because that's another thing is the ESA is saying, we want to, and they said this last year and then they didn't do anything. They totally dropped the ball. But they were saying, we want to roll out an all digital E3 this year. Just digital only events. That's what we're going to do, something like that. They didn't do it last year, but they've stated again that they want to do something like that this year. But of course they need the backing of like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft in order to actually have a digital E3 event. So I really think that if I kind of thinking that nothing is going to happen again for E3. I think E3 is going to be dead this year, just like last year. But if they get the ball rolling and actually have an E3 digital event, then yeah, Nintendo's going to come out swinging hard for that, because they historically absolutely slaughter E3. Nintendo owns and destroys everything E3.
There was the one year where like the best thing we got was Triforce Heroes and Metroid Prime Federation Force.
2016, they destroyed E3 with Breath of the Wild. They completely conquered E3. 2017 they had Odyssey, they had the Switch now out. They had a ton of fun stuff for E3 2017. Again, at 2018 we went there. It was tons of Nintendo, the last, basically 2016 onward, have totally dominated E3. Probably 2012 through 2015 they did not so much, but then they really kicked it up a notch with their Switch stuff. So yeah, I think for sure if E3 exists, they're gonna come out swinging. They're gonna conquer E3 again, and it's gonna be awesome. I think if ESA can't get the ball rolling and no E3 event happens, I don't think Nintendo's gonna have anything timed around E3 time. They're gonna keep doing what they did last year and just roll out their stuff on their own time. That's what I think, but it depends on if there is an E3 or not to present at. Because I think if there's no E3 to have to work around, I don't think they're gonna bother trying to work around that time frame. They're just gonna do exactly what they did last year, and they just go to the beat of their own drum. So
Comic-Con usually, last year they had online events, but I think it was 2015. There was a big reveal planned by Aonuma to show off Breath of the Wild. I think it was still Zelda Wii U, and I think in the interview he said like he even brought the trailer with him, but then at the very last minute chose not to show it because he didn't feel it was ready
for some reason.
Yeah,
even though I'm sure that would have been the highlight of all of Comic-Con if they had.
Yeah. And so it's like there are other events that Nintendo does, and then also Game Awards and stuff. But yes, so if you had to pick a month that you thought something was coming,
like I said before, I think September. We're gonna see a lot of stuff.
Really? I feel like that's. I feel like if something isn't immediately announced for 35th anniversary, then I think around. So the latest game they announced was Skyward Sword for this year.
Yeah.
Splatoon was next year.
Yeah.
But the latest was this year, not counting the different dates for the DLC.
But here's the thing: is Skyward Sword, they're not gonna want to overshadow it. So Skyward Sword is available July. So during the summer, they're gonna be this again. I could be wrong, but I think they're gonna be pushing hard Skyward Sword during the summer. And in order to not overshadow that, they're not going to show us anything new Zelda until after there has been ample time for Skyward Sword to make some bank. And then once that hype has died down a bit, then they can bring the hype train back into action in September with a bunch of new Zelda 35th anniversary stuff and Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay, so they did like the exact opposite with Mario.
Right.
And to make sure one game didn't overshadow the other, they're like, it can't overshadow it because it's only available until
this day. You have
so then
to
we're
buy
gonna
it.
Force you to buy.
Right.
Yeah. And then what was it? with this, so do you think another direct could or maybe come out and then they show more of Skyward Sword then? Or do you think they're just going to release individual trailers for Skyward Sword?
I could see both. They might release some. They might trickle out some stuff like on Twitter, like they have been here and there. But I think also, I could see a non-Zelda focused direct coming between now and September too. Yeah,
because they also have to show more of the Age of Clams DLC before its first pack releases. So we know what we're actually getting instead of... Because even with Breath of the Wild, they had the Champions Ballad, and before they had a trailer ready, they showed us beta footage of one of the cutscenes.
That's true. That's
so,
true. So yeah, they
must have been rushing to get us something.
But they could even just, for the Age of Calamity stuff, they could just put out just the Age of Calamity trailer on its own individually, right? Yeah. Without a direct. So
yeah, because it's not even really... Like, I'm sure Nintendo's helping on it.
Sure.
They had to give them assets and stuff, but
I also
like that's mostly Koei Tecmo.
Like even with Age of Calamity, none of its own announcements were from any directs. They just announced it independently from any other game announcements or any directs or anything. So they just came out there like, hey, here's the Age of Calamity trailer. This exists. Here you go.
I still feel like that and all the Mario stuff, and even some of the stuff we got in this direct were meant for a canceled E3 direct last year.
I could see that, yeah.
Because that was so weird to announce such a big Zelda release so soon before it actually released.
Yeah.
Like no hints, no teases. Like with Skyward Sword, Aonuma teased it like 2 years ago.
Right.
But with like this game that they knew would be insanely popular, they're just like, oh yeah, it's next month, whatever. Buy it if you want. Doesn't matter. It's not us. It's Koei Tecmo.
Right.
We're not making any extra money.
Well, they are. But
publishing the game.
Yeah.
And probably have like a weird percentage. Yeah. So any final things?
That's it. How about any other final things from yourself?
No, but so if there was a dual release, I think it would be Ocarina and Majora. And then, so I mentioned earlier, but I never got to explain why, the whole Unity Unreal Engine thing. So we know Link's Awakening, they hired for it basically the same way they're hiring now.
Right.
Talking about Grezzo. And in that, they put, we're hiring people to work on whatever, a legend, in quotes, trying to not make it obvious, with Unity and Unreal Engine 4. At the same time, Nintendo had just released or had been working on Yoshi's Woolly World or whatever, which also used Unreal Engine 4.
Crafted Worlds.
So it makes
Switch,
so it makes sense for why Link's Awakening, like why they would choose it, because they're like, oh well, Nintendo chose it, so let's just go with this. But Link's Awakening a little bit more complicated of a game than Yoshi's Woolly World or whatever, like Crafted World. So some of my friends who are experienced with developing games said that Unreal Engine 4 most of the time is a lot easier to learn, faster to actually make a game with than Unity, but you need hardware able to handle it. And with Unity, it takes a bit longer and a bit harder, but it runs better on less powerful hardware. And since so many people around E3 especially mentioned technical issues with Link's Awakening, dropping frames and stuff, then if they don't want any of those issues, then they would have to then use Unity, which they didn't choose for Link's Awakening, which means whatever they're making now, if it is a remake of the Oracle games, because they were also Game Boy, then they would be starting from nothing, because they would have to take Unity and then build the Zelda engine around it. Whereas if they were using Unreal Engine 4, they could get it done a lot faster because they already have the engine working for a Zelda game. They have the art style and everything. So even if they did the same art style, to make it look like Link's Awakening.
Right.
They could use the character models and stuff, but they'd still have to go in and tweak it and get it the way that Link's Awakening was. So, because there's a bunch of people saying like, oh, Grezzo's probably making the Oracle remakes, the same engine that they did Link's Awakening with, which is what Nintendo usually does. But from their, from what their listing, the job listing is, that isn't what they're doing. And I don't think they already made the Oracle games, because I think for the anniversary, they would have done Ocarina and Majora's Mask, because Nintendo would know they could spend like 3 times the budget for Ocarina and Majora, and each of those games would still individually sell more than the collection of the Oracle games.
Probably, yeah.
So I would imagine them doing the one to get the most money first, and then doing the one that's like not going to sell nearly as much.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was the Oracle games like a lot of people are hoping, but they could be starting on the Oracle games now, since there's like a 90% chance that they are doing a Zelda game now.
Yeah.
And there's like a 90% chance they already did at least one Zelda game, because they're always working on Zelda.
True.
They have, like, if you look at their track record, aside from maybe when they were working on Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS, they have literally, since they began as a company, always been working on something Zelda. Sometimes 2 things that were Zelda, and that was at the 25th anniversary and then leading up to the 30th. So if that pattern continues, that's why I think Ocarina and Majora's Mask, which they already remade for the 3DS, and they've already done a bunch of 3DS ports to HD for the Switch and even PlayStation 4. So they already have experience in that engine for those 2, Ocarina and Majora's Mask. And they already have experience putting 3DS games on Switch. So it matches up perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's the final thing I wanted to say.
For sure.
And yeah, so where can people find you, Daniel?
Yes, they can find me.
If they sit here this whole time, the whole
I mean, if they're watching this live on my channel, they've already found me. So thanks for that. But otherwise, if you're watching this later on Jesse's channel, then you can find me at Capt Bergerson on all things social media. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, especially YouTube. Also, just a heads up, I'm hard at work on my next dungeon design video, which thanks for sharing those as they've rolled out, Jesse. But because of all this stuff that's just rolled out, it might be a little delayed. I know I'll definitely have it done by the end of the week for Patreon as well. But for those who are not getting their early access on Patreon, it'll probably be coming next week instead, just because there's too much excitement with this. And also, definitely come tune in on those stream days, because Chublima and I have been streaming Super Mario 3D World together, so it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, that's me. That's all I've got to say about myself, Jesse. But who are you? Where can people find you?
Well,
everyone knows who you are.
No, actually, if you seen the tweet yesterday, someone was like, "Who's been doing your most recent videos?" And I'm like, I don't know. If Jesse's trapped in Daniel's basement, then who has been doing the videos?
Those were the ones you're doing? Your videos?
Yeah, because that does. So like that tweet he made doesn't even make sense. Because if he has been watching the new videos, then he would know I've been saying in every single one, Daniel's been making me eat shoes.
That's so funny. Strange.
But yeah, it's like day 10 in Daniel's basement.
Oh.
As you can see, he leaves the walls blank, so I have nothing to
They're
do
not as
except...
fun as my walls upstairs here. So
yeah. No, everything, as always, GameOverJesse. On the 20th, so 3 days, the podcast will be back on iTunes and other places.
Yes.
So look forward to that. Someone actually reached out yesterday asking where our backlog was. So there is at least one person we're making the podcast for.
Yes.
So that's always exciting. I'll be making some scripted videos, going in depth, trying to look over the Skyward Sword thing. Don't know if I'll do. I'm sure there's 1,000 people already going to do a Skyward Sword HD comparison to not just
probably.
Wii, but also to the Dolphin emulator. There's probably one up by Game Explain already. So I don't know if I'll be doing that. I might, but definitely look forward to. I think Daniel and I, or even Chiblima and Geek, may mention some stuff that they've seen that we haven't. So we'll try to look through it all together to see if we can find anything and then put out any new details. Kind of like what we went over earlier, but in a scripted, neater version.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, look forward to that. And if anything else comes out, then we'll be doing something similar for it.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And for those of you guys still with us live here, thanks for hanging out for all this time. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna end this stream now because I gotta wrap things up. Thanks for coming to hang out, you guys. And I'm bad at any of these, and I love you all.
I almost forgot I wasn't live.
Oops.
Thank you, everyone. No, like there at the end, I said bye as if I was live, but I'm just recording.
Oopsie. That's okay.
I don't need it. Like.